Yo, you tuned in to Guerilla Cross Radio.
Yo, what's up? And welcome to another episode of Unnamed Sports Show right here on Guerilla Cross Radio. Streaming live on GorillaCross.com, the Guerilla Cross app. We're live on Facebook Live. And we have a dope show for you today. We're going to be talking about Kawhi Leonard being out for the season. And we don't know for sure if he's going to be out for the season, but that's what they're saying and implying. So that's some big news out of San Antonio. And it seems like there's some drama there. So we're going to talk about that, the friction between him and the team. Team USA women's hockey team won the gold in a shootout. Crazy game. If you guys didn't watch it, it was crazy. So we're going to talk about that as well. Black Panther. There's some guys in the room that might think it's overrated. So we're going to give you a Black Panther review, and we're going to go around the room and yeah, it might be some controversy. I'm afraid my show's going to get shut down.
Shut the building down.
Phone's going to be ringing for sure.
Something's going to be happening today.
Shut the building down.
Mark Cuban, we're going to talk about stuff going on in Dallas with the Mavericks. And LeBron James, he got a new team, right? They won 2 games. Everyone's hyped up, automatically sending him to the finals. We're going to tell you why he might not go to the finals. Cleveland's not a lock to go to the NBA Finals. And, he's not really happy with the new playoff format they're talking about. So we're going to talk about all that and more today, live right here on Unnamed Sports Show. If you want to talk to us, call in 702-608-3259. Once again, that phone number is 702-608-3259. The phone lines will be open all day, the whole time. So we want you to call and interact with us. That's what this show is about. You feel me? And I want to welcome my man, Kelly Kell, live in the building. What's good, son?
What's going on, man? How you feeling?
Good, man. It's been a minute.
Yeah, I know.
I invite you twice a week.
Twice a week at least.
And sometimes even for Speak Live Radio, I'm like, hey, bro, you know about Christian hip-hop?
Right, because, I do that.
Exactly.
Right. I got to make myself available. I do. I do. And I love being here. I'm going to get a set work schedule. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell them
That's the hardest part.
I can't work on Tuesdays, Thursdays, or Fridays past.
Or Saturday, or I just can't work anymore. I quit.
I quit.
I'm becoming a full-time radio host.
Right.
Got my man Hollywood Huff in the building. Does he have a logo on that shirt?
No.
Oh, nope.
That's MC McTwizzler over there. That's
MC McTwizzler. Did you wash those Twizzlers down?
Yes, I did.
Because you were spitting Twizzlers all over my microphone.
They were nibs, though. It was not like they were whole Twizzlers.
Oh, wait,
they were just
he's got the nibs?
It's just the nibs, bro.
Oh, no.
Twizzler nibs.
He's the only person keeping that brand alive.
Right. Hey, I messed with Twizzler nibs for the movie theater. I had some Twizzler nibs when we saw Black Panther.
Hey, I get them at that 7-Eleven right there. It's always like only 2 on the shelf. They do not keep a lot. Every time I'm like, man,
Steve,
I hope
they
ain't
only
out of
order
today.
them for you.
They only have.
It's because they $5 a bag, too.
McTwizzler's
That's what it is.
back. Hurry up, run the Twizzlers out there.
They're only ordering those for
miss our
Steve.
moment. Don't miss our moment.
Shout out to the people at 7-Eleven.
Right.
Keeping nibs
Man.
alive for me.
You walk in the door and they're like,
Keeping
yo, we got your
nibs
nibs.
on
You want both bags this week?
We got both them nibs.
We got all them nibs.
Yes,
We
yeah.
got them nibs for you, Steve.
Right.
All right, pull around to the back.
my
Pull around to the back. Hey, we got him. We got him.
Steve's got drug deals on his Twizzlers. I need 2 kilos of the blue Twizzlers, the special edition. I need them.
I need him. I need him.
It's a little disappointing they never made any other nibs flavors except the cherry one, though.
I know, right? Like, man, they could have went so far with the nibs.
They-
Wow.
So I couldn't
left a
keep
lot.
that together.
They left a lot of money on the table, baby.
A lot of
They
money
did, though.
on the table.
They really did.
This
I think they lost a
segment
lot
of
of money.
Unnamed Sports Show is sponsored by Steve's Nibs. But now it's time to get into sports. And we're going to jump into the NBA right now, right here. Big news out of San Antonio. Kawhi Leonard
Man.
might be out for the season. Greg Popovich is saying he might be out for the season. He hasn't been playing, so, we're not going to work him back into the playoffs like a week before the playoffs start.
Right.
So what do you guys think about this news and the tension there seems to be between San Antonio, the coach, the management, and Kawhi Leonard and his people?
No tension. I know you're trying to fabricate tension so you can
Fabricate?
possibly get another person to maybe want to come to your Lakers.
I mean, he wants to come anyway. He's
It
from
ain't
LA.
happening.
He's from LA.
He can
I don't
be
think
from
anybody
LA.
wants to go to
Nobody
the
wants to go
Lakers.
to LA right now. You need to just
All right.
draft a new team.
All right.
That's it. Just keep drafting, and then
You sound like a bitter Wizards fan, bro.
Hey, that's all right. I got a ring. It might have been in '78,
He said,
but I got a ring.
You weren't born yet.
We've got the tag on the back of the jersey. We're not, we're
You
it
weren't
is what
born
it is.
yet.
That's all right.
In 78? Oh, yeah.
That's all, no, I'm not that old. Yeah,
We won't
Whoa.
talk about that live. We won't talk about that live.
But yeah, no,
it's not that
I
old.
don't think it's a. I think it's more that nothing ever comes out of San Antonio. So this is the first thing ever in the last 20 plus years to come out of San Antonio. So they're trying to blow it out of proportion, and since Pop doesn't really ever give anything, they're trying to put words in his mouth.
And this isn't the first time. I mean, there was talks of, okay, Tim Duncan was this close to going to the Orlando Magic back in the day.
Yeah, no,
People
no.
forget about that.
Oh,
So,
no.
So
I don't forget about that, but it wasn't like he was.
it's
hated.
not like there was drama about it,
wasn't
but
no
at
drama.
the same time, it
He thought
wasn't.
about it.
San Antonio's not always keeping everyone like they say,
Right.
even though they have in recent years.
Yeah,
Tim
I was
got
just
4
thinking,
more
though,
rings.
like so is the tension behind Kawhi opting not to play? Because I know he's been released to play. Are they just upset that he's choosing to not come back?
I think the doctors have cleared him to play like in December, and him and his people, he's not comfortable enough to play right now. Like,
Didn't he come
but
back?
But he did come back for a little bit.
Yeah.
He came back for like a couple games.
But
It
if
was
you're
like,
a player
I'm
and
not
you're
ready.
injured, you know if you feel right or not.
Definitely.
You feel me? Especially when you got a contract coming up.
Right.
Because we saw Isaiah Thomas be loyal to the team, and what happened to him?
His
Right.
loyalty.
He
got
ended up
him-
getting hurt worse,
Yeah.
and his loyalty cost him a lot of money
Yeah, definitely.
and 2 trades in 6 months.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I don't think it's as big of a deal as people are making it out to be, but I could see there could be some tension because there is some frustration.
Right.
Obviously that team is better with Kawhi playing, and with him kind of making a personal decision to play after a doctor said you can play.
a business decision.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So I think, and sometimes in other players' eyes, they're thinking, why doesn't he want to play then? There are some players, and probably someone in San Antonio who may have never had an injury like that. You know, a lot of times you get it. Some injuries are just, you sprain your ankle. 2 weeks later, once it's good, it's good. But you have some injuries, you're good. You're technically fit to play, but there's still just a little bit of soreness, or you cut a certain way, and it you know what I mean? It stings a little bit.
ACL is one of those. Like,
Right.
Anything with your knee, whenever you have any kind of surgery, everybody's not the same.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
Right.
some people, like, the mental side of it is the biggest part. And Kawhi is a hyper athlete. Like, he is great defensively, great offensively. So
Right.
if he's not feeling 100%, some people can just block that out. Some people can't. Or some people, some people's minds won't allow them to. So it's, look, like I said, I think this is a non-issue. I think that the media is going to spin it and try and create an issue, which there might be one that's created out of this.
But are we saying it's a non-issue because Kawhi is like the perfect fit in San Antonio? He's so quiet.
Yeah.
And is that why we're saying it's a non-issue? Because if this was another player that might be more verbal in the media, just because isn't verbal in the media doesn't mean there's not something going on behind the scenes. Because with San Antonio leaking some stuff like this, like, he was cleared, like,
Right.
Right.
you're not leaking stuff that doesn't exist. And I'm not saying it's going to be a huge deal, like he'll want to leave the team or demand a trade or anything like that. But I don't think it's as secure as we want to think.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that's true. I mean, look, when there's smoke, there's usually fire. But I just feel like they're trumping it up a little bit. That's my personal.
Trumping it up.
Trump.
Shout out to
Bing
San
it up.
Antonio's marketing department for keeping everybody speculating about everything.
True.
And through all these
for
speculations,
real.
what are the Spurs? They're still like what, fifth in the West?
Yeah.
I think they're better than that, aren't they?
Probably. I was
Yeah.
just trying to be friendly.
Yeah, I was just thinking too. Like, I mean, the players that would be upset are clearly players that feel like they need him in rotation.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes you wonder, like, who's really, because LaMarcus Aldridge is hooping. He's like really out there, like
And Spurs are third in the West.
third in the West.
Yeah.
I figured they were probably that high, but I didn't want to be just too presumptuous. I was
Right.
like,
Yeah.
I know they're in the top 5.
Big picture though, are they making a playoff run without Kawhi? Probably not. they're out second round.
Second round. Second round. You still see look, I think their coaching still gets them out of the first round.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, the second round is, yeah, for sure. That's where
consistency and unselfish play style from coaching is going to get them out of the first round. Absolutely. Yeah. But they're going to come across some juggernauts in the West.
Well, second round would get them up against who? Houston, probably.
If they stay third, yeah.
Yeah.
You walk.
They don't want that problem.
You're just go ahead and just slide in Houston on past San Antonio, huh?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Without Kawhi,
I don't know. I don't look. You weren't here on Tuesday, so Tuesday,
listen. LaMarcus has to have crazy playoffs.
I know that.
Right.
For them to.
I know that. I'm just saying.
But
Tuesday,
it's possible.
30 points in a triple-double. But
Tuesday, I was when we were here on Tuesday, I was talking about just like D'Antoni. Yeah, like I don't know.
You don't know?
In
You don't
terms
know
of
about D'Antoni being
just
a good
in terms of like situational, like the playoffs are different. You can run all these sets and all this good stuff in the regular season, but the playoffs is when things slow down and people start. Quan, you missed it. You missed her. Take it off.
Whoa.
Sorry. Take her medal off. Her medal off.
That's what she said.
Her medal.
Wow, bro.
Oh my
Settle
gosh.
down.
Yes, we are on the radio. I apologize.
Take the remote away from Josh. I don't know what he's watching over here.
I looked up in the girl from the Canadian team. Anyway,
from the Kardashians.
No one said anything about the Kardashians. That was you. But
that's all I heard.
Yeah, I don't. I think that I would definitely want to see that series, Kawhi or no Kawhi. If Kawhi was there,
definitely.
If Kawhi was there, I'd say that they would definitely take him. But with him not being there, it's probably 60-40. But I don't think they're just gonna walk through.
I also think with Chris Paul being on Houston right now, James Harden is in his most comfortable season, and it's making him a bigger threat individually. But they still have the team play aspect. So without having the extra defensive aggression that Kawhi would produce, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, ultimately, who's going to stop him at the rim?
Taking someone away.
You know? Like,
Kawhi's out there, he's taking someone away.
Right.
There's a difference. But, like I said, I don't
I know.
James never won. Chris Paul never won.
I mean, exactly.
I'm not just going they get
Exactly.
into the conference finals. They may not win the first round.
Neither one.
I mean, we're getting hyped up off Chris Paul maybe passing the second round. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on.
Exactly.
He still hasn't got past the second round in his whole entire career.
Chris Paul could
it's
still
different
have
with
his,
the Hornets and the Clippers.
No, but Chris Paul could still have his customary April blowout.
Yeah.
I blame Blake for all of those.
Oh,
I blame
it's
Blake
not
for
Blake's fault.
Just because he's the whitest one.
No. Blake isn't
I don't like the racial
white.
tension in the room today.
Blake isn't even considered white. No, Blake will sit out the playoffs for toe injuries, and that put Chris Paul in bad position. So
No, Blake was breaking legs in the playoffs.
Balake
He also
would
set
have
out
like
4 toe injuries.
breaks. Like my legs.
Balake is definitely
Balake.
Samuel in Unbreakable.
They
falling down the stairs.
Mr. Glass.
Man.
Am I a bad person? Every time I see that joint, I am like dying laugh whenever he falls down the stairs. Ah!
No.
Like every
I'm like that
time,
too.
I'm like,
Nah.
I'm like, this is a part of the movie
like
I'm
that too.
literally supposed to be like emotional and like sad, but this is freaking hysterical.
Yeah.
Nah, it's hilarious.
Okay.
Yeah,
all
You know,
right, I'm
follow
just
us
making
at
sure.
Guerilla Cross on all social media. Download the Guerilla Cross app for free. We're here live every Tuesday and Thursday, 2 p.m. West Coast time. So make sure you check that out. All of our podcasts and video replays are on the app, so make sure you get that. And the live shows are on the app as well. Man, Mark Cuban. Let's talk about Mark Cuban, the Dallas Mavericks. First of all, it came out the other day that Mark Cuban said that pretty much saying he wants his team to tank and told his team to tank. You can't say that publicly.
As well he should.
Even though, listen,
Right,
listen,
yeah.
he got in trouble for saying it, but we know that that's been the deal for the past 10, 15 years.
For most of these teams.
People tank.
Yeah.
If you know you're not close to the playoff race by, let's say, January, you're in full tank mode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
right.
necessarily the players, because players might not even be on that team next season, so they don't necessarily care to tank themselves. Coaches will take out their veterans and make sure they play all their young dudes. They'll trade all their veterans.
They'll trade veterans away.
And we've seen that in the league forever. I mean, you know, we saw the Spurs got Tim Duncan off tanking.
Yeah.
a lot of teams, Cleveland got a lot of players off tanking.
Yeah.
Philly got their whole roster off tanking. The whole entire roster right now off tanking, including Markelle Fultz, who they shouldn't have tanked for.
Their tanking was actually got a name. It became the process.
Yeah.
Like that was like
Exactly.
we're not gonna call
tanking.
it. We're not gonna call it tanking.
It's called
we'll
the
just
process.
call it the process.
Just trust the
tanking.
process. Trust
Yeah.
the
So Cuba got fined $600,000,
Wow.
which is McDonald's money for him.
For him.
But still, $600,000 for making those claims.
Yeah.
What can we do to fix tanking? Do you think he should have got fined that much? And I really think he got fined that much off reputation.
Yeah,
Because he's definitely like
he's Mark Cuban.
he's been fined more than any other owner in the NBA by far.
History.
Number of fines and amount of fines. I mean, he's paid for an NBA franchise in fines.
Yeah.
Real talk.
Hey,
It's close to that.
Definitely one in the 80s.
Yeah.
for
Right.
sure. For sure,
Yeah.
he's bought an
Yeah.
80s team. Not even a question.
That's so difficult. I don't know if there's anything we can do about tanking. It's always been like that unspoken thing,
But they can reformat some things and take some
keep-
things away if you're caught tanking, or don't give the worst team in the league the automatic first pick.
They keep,
Right.
well, I
I
mean,
think
they
every
keep-
playoff team, every non-playoff team should have the equal amount of opportunity to get the first pick.
That's interesting.
They keep.
That would stop that, because now everyone's trying to get to the playoffs instead.
Right.
Adam keeps talking about changing the formatting of the draft, changing the lottery. I really did like the thought of basically like a round robin tournament of the other tier teams.
Yeah.
Basically playing for draft position.
Oh,
So like
I seen a
you know what
post
I mean?
about that. I
Like
just didn't
basically
understand it, but that makes
basically
sense.
like all right, so there's 16 teams in the league that make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Then there's 14 teams that don't.
Right.
So those 14 would play each other in a tournament. I don't know exactly how they would format it,
Mhm.
but that basically would determine your final seeding. So you'd actually be if you were that 14th team, you probably wouldn't want to go up against that, the team that was 17
Right.
in the league.
And
It
here's
just
the
missed.
problem with why this won't work. First of all, you're going to try to ask players to play extra games for the same money for a team they probably don't care about. Most of these players aren't going to be on that losing team the next
Right.
season. So why are we going to play extra to try to there's going to be a lot of players that are free agents that are most likely not going to be let's say the Utah Jazz don't make the playoffs and they're in that tournament to see who gets the first pick. I'm not playing hard so you can draft another player in my position. Let's say you're a Donovan Mitchell and the best player in the draft is your same position. Are you really going to play that hard to bring in competition?
Well, I mean, look, but
Because the players, to me, don't care. It's the team that cares, the coaches, the GM. I don't think the players necessarily care where they're drafting, unless they're a bad team and it's like, we need somebody.
yeah.
But
But
if
for
you're
the teams,
14, you don't really care.
Well, no, but I'm saying, but that's the thing. If you're the team, if you're that top team that just missed, yeah, you might not care and you might not show up. But you also might say, hey, look, we're actually right there. If we mess around and get the number 1 pick in the draft, we could actually be a very good team or have the, Like I think you're kind of not giving players enough credit in some ways, just in that, like, players understand where they're at. Like, most owners don't really want to win the championship. Most owners just want to be profitable.
Yeah.
If we can make the playoffs, I'm great. Most owners don't actually do what it takes to win championships.
Yeah.
So if the players actually were able to pull some of that back and go get, like, if this was a year where there was a LeBron or there was a Ben Simmons that's out there and everybody's like, hey, man, we could get him and that could make us better. And, like, we actually, it's not a ping pong thing. Like, we actually can go determine this on the court. It's a little different. I mean, it's interesting. It's a lot more exciting than watching some ping pong. Well, they don't even do the ping pongs anymore. They have the the cold envelope, the frozen envelope.
I think even like incentivizing the players and something like that, where you say like, all right, the playoffs is going on here, but you guys are gonna play this little round robin tournament or whatever.
Yeah.
But you know what? On top of whatever your team gets, players, if you win this tournament, there's $100K on the table. Like,
Sure,
you know what I mean? Something
there's
like that, where the players are
something.
going, okay, win, lose, or draw. If we take this thing down, I'll have an extra $20,000 in my pocket.
As
or
fans, do we
$15,000 or
want to
something like
watch
that.
during the playoffs? Do we want to watch a tournament of losers?
No, we're not gonna watch it. I
Sure,
mean, it doesn't
do it
even
time
necessarily
frame,
have
though.
to happen
Look,
right there, but
If it was something like
There's
was
already
sponsored-
too many games. There's already NBA is all year round.
All summer, you're like, man, I need more NBA. Where's the NBA?
I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it, but not the players. And I don't do that because we have. That's what I'm saying. We have basketball year round, pretty much.
Yeah,
we do.
So how are they going to fit more games in for the losers tournament?
Oh, they'll find a way.
All right, so when you get to, so the losers tournament doesn't happen right away, but when you get to like the conference finals.
Where there's
gaps in days.
Yes.
Then you have those tournaments, but they're not 6 and 7 or 7 game series. You have a 3 game.
It's one
series.
and done.
Oh no, it's
one and done.
It's a tournament.
There you go.
Tournament. Yeah.
There you go. One and done. You know what I mean? So on those days, you could have maybe 2 extra games a day or something in between those days to fill the gap.
You put them. Look, you put them in.
Hey
Vegas.
guys, you're watching a 7-game playoff series of who's going to the finals. But wait, we're going to show you the losers tournament.
No. But look,
but
you put it in Vegas. You put it in some place where there isn't. You know what I mean? You put it somewhere where it's neutral.
Listen, we're going to be too busy watching the Las Vegas Aces to worry about the losers tournament.
I'm just telling you, it definitely has.
But if
it has some legs,
like you said, if there's
I don't like it. I would rather everyone that doesn't make the playoffs gets one ping pong ball in the lottery and go from there.
At the end of the day,
and if you have any comments or questions on this or want to chime in, hit us up 702-608-3259. We want to hear your opinion about this as well. Go ahead, Kel.
Yeah. No, I was just saying it goes so much above like just coaching and players though. Like unless you got all the players on the same page, you're not going to get the results that you want.
Yeah.
And then you're talking about ownership level
But then some players are free agents now. Like the season's over.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not playing in that game.
Maybe they don't play. So maybe they don't play.
Right.
So yeah, you might. I mean, there's a lot.
Paid.
There's a lot of teams where you have 7 free agents.
Then they don't play.
Well, you got a 7-man roster.
No.
There's a lot of teams
pull
that
up from the G League.
Yeah, that's exactly what you do.
And if there's money on the table, maybe they do play.
See what I'm saying?
Maybe they're saying I'm a free agent, but here's an extra 10, 15K I'm gonna get
if
for
Chase
playing 2
came
more
in
games.
and said, if Chase came in and said, all right, we're gonna give $20 million to the winning team, so they get the number 1 pick, and then the team gets to split $20 million between these dudes that probably don't have big contracts. Come on, man, dudes are playing. And they're going to play hard.
And as a fan, I know if the first pick is an exciting college player and it's my team that's playing in this.
I'm cheering for that.
Exactly. I'm going to watch
because
I want to see
I hate it.
But you activate look, Quan, if you were, let me think. Okay, if you're a Hawks fan. If you're a Hawks fan and we are not, no, I'm just saying.
People in Atlanta aren't even Hawks fans.
No, but I'm saying if you're a Hawks fan and you know the team isn't doing anything.
I feel you.
And now we're in this other tournament where we actually we're like playing for the number 1 pick. That would engage Hawk fans.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there is something there. I'm not saying that it's the right move.
And listen,
it would be better than tanking. I'd rather see that than dudes not try.
Most seasons we do have players that are worth tanking for, right?
Yeah.
I would say
I
would say 5 or 6 out of every 10 years we have players worth tanking for. But then we get the Anthony Bennett draft.
Don't do that.
Who would want to play?
Giannis was in that draft.
Giannis was in that draft. They weren't tanking for Giannis. They got him. What pick was he?
Yeah.
He was like, 18?
Yeah.
You know?
But see, that comes down to scouting. So it's not necessarily like
exactly. So tanking doesn't really matter because we look at who are the best players in this year's rookie class. Kyle Kuzma, pick number 27, 28.
Yeah.
Donovan Mitchell, pick number 16, 17. I can't remember the exact pick.
And
traded on draft night.
He was after lottery.
You know? Markelle Fultz was what everybody was tanking for, and he can't even put up a shot past 5 feet away from the basket.
Right.
Yeah. It happens.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a tournament to see who gets Markelle Fultz.
And that's what we.
Hey, look. If my team,
they'll call it the Fultz Trophy.
If my team has the opportunity to make that mistake, I'd be excited.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because okay, I'll put it to you like this:
would you be excited?
The Wizards should have drafted Kawhi the year that he came out, and we drafted Jan Vesely, and I was saying take exactly. And I was saying at the time take Kawhi because we needed an athletic wing to run with John Wall. I was like, okay, he's an athletic wing. This was before Kawhi was supposed to be anything outside of a rim to rim runner that could dunk.
Yep.
I didn't know much about him outside of that. I just knew he was 6'8", athletic, could play defense, and could dunk. And I was like, cool, that's what John needs. We need somebody else that's athletic and running with him. And we went and we took the Euro equivalent of that everyone was high on. And I was like, man, I don't know. That Kawhi kid seemed pretty decent. decent. I didn't think he was gonna be
Right,
MVP decent.
Yeah, number
But,
one lockdown.
Yeah, like we could have had
yeah.
Kawhi. We took Jan Vesely. So
All right.
I mean, but you're given the opportunity to make that mistake. That's all.
All right, trivia question, Steve. Who did Kawhi Leonard get drafted by, and who did he get traded for?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I
Kel.
don't remember that either. I don't remember now. I feel like he was drafted by Indiana.
Indiana.
was,
Oh,
I don't know who we got traded for.
He got traded for somebody who I believe is on the Cavaliers right now.
You believe?
At this point, I don't even know who
Right.
the Cavaliers.
His name starts with George, ends with Hill.
Oh, okay.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because George Hill was in San Antonio at that point.
Wow.
It's a good trade, Spurs.
Freaking
Good trade, Spurs.
I
Well,
think-
George Hill played well for them though. That was at the
He
time.
did.
Remember at the time that was like
It was a
ooh,
good trade
that
at the
was
time, but
That's a tough because they did trade. He was a starter. He was starting.
I think what you're seeing
Not-
and a lot of what we just talking about is these scouts apparently aren't doing that great of a job because this is not like isolated incidents here.
Oh,
You could look at every single season and you
Sure.
can find out that the player that was hyped up the most seemed to go the highest in the draft, and most cases better players seem to be drafted 18th, 19th, 20th, whatever, in that range.
A lot of that
And
though
how-
is from the systems that they play in. Though you can't, you can watch a high school player, or I mean a college player. I'm sorry, you can watch a college player and watch a team and see that their coach has them playing in a specific role, and that's not
Right.
what's benefiting their game. You know what I mean? So as a scout,
Yeah.
you're like, okay, this guy's good at this, but that's all you see from them.
Yeah.
You
I don't
can't,
know what
you
else
can't
he can do.
anticipate development. You just really
right.
can't. So it's not even from a scout standpoint. It's just like where are these cats playing? Are they in the right programs? Are they being coached by the right people? You know what I mean? Like Zion is the most
I was
dominant
just about
player
to
in
talk
high
about
school,
that.
period. He's going to Duke.
Duke,
Is that going to be the right program for him? Are they going to revolve it around him?
Because how many
Is-
Duke players
well-
really come out and dominate in the NBA?
No, but
Exactly.
did you see the highlight? I was just when you were saying that in the beginning, I thought of Zion and I was like, did you see the highlight of him this morning?
No.
Okay, he had a highlight.
And
where
real quick, we're going to get right back to that. We do got a caller live on the air. What's good? What's your name? Where are you calling from? And what's your take?
Hey, my name's Nick Gaucher. I've been kind of watching your show on and off for a while now, when I can because of work. I'm from originally South Florida, just moved to Alabama.
Oh, dope. Thanks for calling in, Nick.
Yeah, no problem.
So what's your
I
take
got-
on what we're talking about right now?
My take, I really wanted to talk about the scouting. You guys mentioned scouting, and
Yeah.
I looked at teams like, even in football, let's say the Patriots, along with like the Spurs, who for the past 20 years have been drafting in the back half of their drafts respectively, but yet they continually find talent.
Yeah, always.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, whether undrafted or not undrafted, like they continually find talent to fit what they're trying to do, and they continue to impose what they do. And I think scouting is overlooked, even though at the pro level, some people just kind of say, and just kind of overlook it.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think that when it comes to scouting, they're looking for specific things. They're looking for specific attributes in players. But like you said, the Spurs, I mean, there's not been a player that can't be coached under Popovich and what he's capable of doing with a player and finding those role players and helping them develop to be greater, speaks to the program more so than the individual player. So the scouting is everything, but, you got to be careful on what you're looking for, too.
Yeah.
My big thing on the scouting, and I've said this before, with you saying how the Spurs, for the last 20 years, they've been one of the top 5 to 8 teams in the league. So they've constantly picked after about 22, the last few years. And the biggest thing to me is they always, if you really look at the Spurs, they tend to always draft juniors, seniors. Even in undrafted people, most of their people are older. And so they don't draft.
Or Europeans.
Yeah, or Euros. They don't draft, off of potential. And I think a lot of the reason that people get in trouble, or you see the busts, or you see the guys that don't develop, is because we're drafting off of what he could be. And to what Kel just said, in terms of, we don't know. Basically, I'm only seeing him in this way. So in this system, he's able to be super athletic. But maybe our system doesn't really run that. Is he going to be able to shape and mold into what we need him to be great in this? Maybe, maybe not. The Spurs constantly draft guys that they know how to play. They might not be the most athletic. They might not be the flashiest, but we know when they come in, they can give us 8 to 10. And not everybody can say that. Some people are looking for people to develop into giving us 15, but maybe he sticks at only 5 points a game.
And I think you could tell a good scout by going against the grain, because last year I was not on Markelle Fultz at all last year, at all. And everybody was so hyped. I'm like, am I missing something on this? You know what I'm saying?
I didn't see it.
But were people hyped up on the hype of him? And we get that a lot. Like you mentioned Tuesday, Josh, about who's going to be drafted from the AAU rankings. Mm-hmm. So are scouts now just kind of looking at the trends?
That's it.
They're not going out to actually scout.
That's
they're
it.
looking at the hype. They're watching ESPN's draft board, and they're going off that and saying, oh, yeah, he's good. Are they really going out there scouting like a Spurs team does? Year in and year out, they get somebody at least decent.
Yeah, well, they always get somebody that they know is going to do something.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
And I also wanted to mention that Michael Porter Jr. just got released saying that he's able to come back to activity. So you think he should sit out, or you think he should go for it?
Oh. Let me get that.
Yeah, go ahead, Kel.
Yeah.
Josh is like, who's that?
I think he should go for it. I think he should take it easy, but I think he should go for it. It's kind of like Quan actually just mentioned, like with that hype, if he's looking to hit that next level, he has to rebuild that hype around him. I know his injury was pretty severe. It was like, okay, like we didn't think he was going to be able to come back as soon, but I think he should play, take it easy, and make people like really sit back and watch. Like, okay, he's coming back from an injury. He's still capable of doing this. Let's see what's going to happen next.
Well, conspiracy theorist Dave had a theory that his injury wasn't really as serious as they made it out to be.
Oh,
And Dave's talked about that a lot on the show.
He has.
So
that could be the case too.
Yeah,
definitely. But I mean, like, I think it comes out. The players know best. Kawhi's opting to sit out, and we're kind of like, well, you've been released since December. Like, you can play. But he's opting to sit out,
and he really needs to talk to his people to be like, where am I in the draft board?
Right.
Because if I'm top 15, I don't have to come back.
Yeah.
If my draft stock has fallen that much where people might not take a chance on me unless they see me come back and play,
right,
then you might have to you might come back. He's not going to come back just to help his team.
Right. You don't need him to get, like
what team?
Nerlens Noel, you know what I mean? Coming back off an injury, still getting drafted, a pretty decent level, like he didn't have to play. He can sit, and people know that he's going to come back and still, be potential. So I agree. He got to look at his draft stock for sure.
Yep.
Oh,
Gotcha. Hey, guys, I really appreciate you taking my call.
Dude, Nick, thanks for calling in, man. Download the Guerilla Cross app, and thanks for the support, bro.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you, guys.
Yo, call us up, 702-608-3259 if you have opinions on what we're talking about right now, or if you just want to mention anything else. And shout out, happy birthday, Dr. J. I was going to play some Dr. Dre in honor of Dr. J, but I couldn't pull it up in time. But, man, Dr. J, how old is he now?
68.
168.
Whoa.
Nah, he still looks good for 68.
He does look good.
Doc can still dunk, brother.
I mean, you see his wingspan? Come on, man.
Hey, that don't matter.
You barely got to jump. You don't even need knees if your arms are that long.
Hey, look here, man. You still got to at least take a look. Maybe not flight. We got to at least take jump.
Yeah. Take a jump.
I actually got the honor of meeting Dr. J. One of the best
dope.
experiences of my life. He was shopping in the Nike store I was working at.
Nice.
He was literally, people are buying basketballs off the shelf, and he's sitting there signing
wow,
them.
That's cool.
It's super cool, man.
Man, Dr. J's Converse. How did that happen?
I mean, Converse.
They own Nike.
Owns,
yeah,
they own
Nike owns Converse.
Yeah, they own Converse.
But still, at the end of the day, like he was in there. He had some family with him, but for him to stop and shake hands, take pictures, sign basketballs, it was great. It was great. And I worked there, and he still stopped and had conversation with me. I couldn't take the pictures that I wanted or anything like that because I worked there. I would have. Yeah, no, I should just lost my
there
job.
anymore now.
Right.
Yeah. And be like,
but it was dope, man. So shout out to Dr. J, man. Happy birthday, because that was a great experience. He living legend.
Quan, we will not be asking for you to come back tomorrow.
We're going to give you the opportunity to find a
was
job
your picture
somewhere.
worth it?
Like, I got the pictures, though. I got a picture with Dr. J.
I was a social media star for 22 hours straight.
It was. I sold the picture to TMZ. Oh, no. Dr. J touched me on my lower back.
Made me very uncomfortable.
Sorry, man. I had to do it. I lost my job. I lost my job, man.
I said what I said about the Canadian girl earlier, that you go bring out, Doctor, don't touch me there. That's what you're going to do right now. Oh my goodness, I'm so through with you. So through with you.
Man.
So yeah, so the conclusion of that story is NBA scouts suck, and we could probably all do a better job and get paid. So hire us.
Yeah.
Hire us.
To finish what I was saying about Zion though, the video he dunked it, and everyone's like, "Oh, Zion's such a beast." Man, literally, he dunked it on like he came across the lane. He started on the right side of the court, came back to the left to the key,
Yeah, I saw that.
and dunked it on two kids, and literally both children were no more than 6'2".
Listen,
yeah, absolutely.
and
And
this
I'm
high
like-
school
and I'm
hype
like-
isn't new. We saw
I'm
O.J.
like,
Mayo was supposed to be the next great
no.
player. Remember that?
Right. Absolutely.
Remember O.J. Mayo back in 8th grade? Donald Foyle back in the day
Yep.
was supposed to be a great player. You know, like
Austin Rivers' high school mixtape is
Yes,
insane.
yes.
It's
No,
insane.
Austin Rivers, I saw him in high school. He was a problem.
Yeah, but now look.
And now he's a very good role player.
But
Right.
he was also incredibly athletic in high school.
Oh yeah,
That I don't like. It's the one thing about the NBA that people don't really talk about, man. That grind. Those guys, their legs aren't the same. Like
Right.
Austin Rivers used to he used to have a catapult on the ground.
yeah. But
Like
Well,
Derrick
it was
Rose,
crazy.
young. He was a young Derrick Rose.
and I think I was literally just about to say something about Derrick Rose. When you are a young person, when you are in 8th grade, 9th grade, you're still growing. You're still
Sure.
getting stronger. Your testosterone is still producing.
yeah.
Once you hit 21, 22, 23, not as fast, but things level off.
Yeah.
Meaning like unless you're really hitting the weights hard, unless you really if you don't take your training to the next level,
Yeah.
you start losing a little bit
Right.
of what you have. Then once you hit 30, you're just fighting the clock.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Curtains.
But you're
Right.
looking, so
Curtains
you're
over
looking
here.
at basically all these guys
Kels, it's coming for you.
should be doing.
there.
I mean,
It's coming for you, Kels.
Right.
What do you
I'm over here. Steve got me over here rubbing my knees.
I was just
Lord,
saying,
I'm
I'm
over
rubbing
here
my
like,
knee
I'm
right
over here like,
now.
wake up, knees. Wake up, knees. Just give me
I got
one
a
more.
game
Give
today.
me one
Don't
more
tell me
game,
that,
knees.
man.
One more game.
Play today.
Come on, knees.
so when you look at these guys coming out of high school and college going into the NBA, their bodies are just not developing at a rate where they're getting stronger.
Sure.
So they have to take their training to the next level. On top of that, Austin Rivers, we talked about him, and a lot of these other guys, they're playing against guys where they're dominating. Now they're going to a league to play against other guys who dominated those same
the
guys.
other dominate.
Right. So now they're playing against the
people.
other dominants.
Yeah,
Right. So
yeah.
so these guys are a lot faster, a lot quicker,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden that quick step you had,
Ain't-
that defender, now he's got to step just as quick.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're getting a little bit older. He's probably got a little bit more training, a few veteran moves. So
Sure.
now all of a sudden you get to the league and it's like, I can't just blow past people anymore.
Nope.
Yeah.
I got to
Yeah.
come up with another move.
And
you
they
know?
have those like powerhouse games too, like this great high school player versus this great high school player, and you really see like who's
Yeah.
performing better at that point. But
Right.
those games are never like as spectacular. It's
Yeah.
never like,
Yeah.
oh my God, you went off for 50 this game, or
Yeah.
you went off for 60.
Yeah.
But when you're playing those chump schools, you're getting those stats
I'm
up.
getting 55
You know,
and sitting down
but
in the third.
When we saw
Right.
LeBron James go up against Trevor Ariza
Mm.
and dominate him, that's when you're like, okay,
You knew.
he's super legit.
Right, because
Yeah.
you know who Trevor Ariza is and what he's
Exactly.
capable of doing. Right,
Exactly.
And then Zion, his build alone is what makes him massive and such a problem in at a high school level.
Yeah.
But you're 6'8" in college as a
Yeah.
small
As a-
forward,
as a 4
you
or
know,
5.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're going to be going up against guys who are 6'8" and strong. They're going to have the mentality to box you out. You're not jumping out of the gym like that.
And
Every
right.
play
Yeah.
is not going to be a fast break like that. You're not going to be
Yeah.
windmilling, cocking it behind your head because like as much defense as you play, the rest of them are going to play
Yeah.
defense as well.
And let's not get so hyped up on the YouTube videos. Do you think that their families and friends and potential agents that they're already signed to are not putting together these tapes and hyping them and putting great music behind the
oh,
tapes?
yeah.
Well, no, a lot of his stuff is off of.
No,
Like,
I'm saying in
Mixtape.
general with
Yeah.
the players. We're getting so hyped up off these YouTube videos of their best plays.
There's people are making career. Ball is life.
Yeah.
They're famous
Yeah.
because
That's
of
what I
the
was-
dope videos that they're putting out. Though they have
That's
to
not
make that the
family.
best
Yeah,
video
that's-
ever. So
yeah.
people watch that instead of the overtime video or
Yeah.
whatever other
Yeah.
video there is.
Hoop mixtape.
Right. So
Yeah.
if they're
C-League
doing
hoops.
that and you're seeing all these amazing highlights, but you're not putting up the videos of the game where you shot 3 for 17. You know what I mean? Like
Exactly. Yeah.
All I
YouTube is
need
and
is
they're
a
not
couple
putting up
dunks.
tapes of you playing defense
They're not.
ever. You're not.
Ever.
You know, it's
has
not
some,
interesting.
He has.
Zion blocked.
He had some. He had some. Like
I'm not
in the
just talking about
very-
him though. That's
Okay.
yeah. But I'm saying overall with these
Most of the time.
highlight videos,
And that's what it
right.
is. Highlight. Nobody considers defense highlights unless it's
Unless
a
it's a
backboard
crazy block where
Right.
it goes out of bounds.
Right. Nobody is
Yeah.
like, oh, look, this person had 15 steals from sitting down,
Yeah.
standing in front of the defender. No, never that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see it all the time, especially in the summertime. I talked to one of the coaches last year. It was a big tournament, and one of his teams had played against LeVar Ball's team. What's the youngest boy's
LaMelo.
name?
Yeah,
LaMelo,
LaMelo.
right? So
Zion. That was
Lanoing.
I went to
last
that
summer.
game.
So that was last
Lanoing.
summer.
Lanoing.
Right. So he had a game or something. The coach was telling me about it.
Got to tell you, I
And
met Lamar.
LaMelo scored so many points in this game,
LeVar.
and everybody talked about like, oh, he's a scoring machine and this and that, and he's so good and so good. He was like, man, he shot like 30% that game. I mean,
Right.
he just was jacking the ball up left and right. I mean,
Their whole entire
something-
offense rotates around
Well,
him.
no, but
Right.
that's
So-
the reason why I said it was best for him to go to Lithuania.
So when you-
because
so
you
you-
can keep the lie going over
Yeah.
there.
So when you have these people talk about the hype of a player like that, he scored 40 points in that game. But then if you were there watching the entire game, you saw him miss like 20 shots.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Right.
And it's like, why do they keep giving him the ball? Why does he keep jacking the ball up? These are things you don't get in the highlight tape.
No.
So this is where the lazy scouting, if you're scouting off of YouTube videos and then you go see this one kid's game and they're playing against a team that just ain't that good, he's going to look 10 times better.
Definitely.
But how does he look playing against other players who are ranked, other players who are being scouted?
Right.
Yeah.
That's what is going to make the difference in knowing how good this player is. What is he doing when the camera's not watching? What is he doing when he doesn't have the ball? He just standing there waiting for the ball? I
Yeah.
mean, you have to watch how these players play all around.
Yeah.
The people always say, like, numbers never lie, but they don't tell the whole story. So
True.
you have
The
to
eye
see
test
what's
still
going
matters.
on.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Listen,
Still
me
gotta
and
pass the
Josh
eye
went
test.
to a couple games, UNLV this year, and saw McCoy play.
Okay.
And he's a big dude. He's projected to be a lottery pick, I believe, at least a first round pick.
Yeah.
I wasn't impressed. I looked over at Josh and asked him. The work ethic looks kind of weak. He's a big dude.
And so
I want to see him succeed and
Yeah.
be great, but
Right.
at the same time, there's something about him that I'm like, hey, he should stay in school for a couple years and learn the game a lot better.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's a big deal. I think there's been those few players that have been successful off of the YouTube hype,
Yeah.
and now it's like that's the thing now. I
Yeah.
mean, Trae Young's YouTube views were crazy. He was that high school player too.
Yeah.
Michael Porter Jr. So they're seeing those people come out and they're doing the work at a college level
Yeah.
that they were doing at a high school level, and now everybody's revolving around that. They just don't understand that that's not going to be the
Yeah.
case.
And Goose from Let the Ball Bounce said, Mac McClung is a better basketball player than Zion Williamson.
Mac McClung is very, very, very dope, but that's a hard argument. I won't take that from him. I feel like no,
He was about to fight him. And
I
he's like,
was.
wait.
I was
I might
like, hold
agree.
on, somebody said something.
I
Let me
might agree.
argue. Wait a minute. Let me think. No, Mac McClung is a very all-around player. Have you guys seen his videos? Do you know who he is?
I've seen like a couple highlights.
Okay.
I can't even say I've seen
doesn't,
enough.
he doesn't have
I've seen
the hype,
Zion a lot
He
more.
doesn't have
yeah.
the hype train of Zion for sure.
Well, he's definitely a better all-around player.
So
can
where's he going?
Shoot. I forgot where he
I
committed
don't know
to.
where
I
he
don't-
committed.
Yeah, I forgot where he committed. Honestly, or if
Probably
he did.
Duke.
Right.
Everybody going to Duke next year.
But he could shoot. He could jump out the
By
gym.
our
you know what I
powers
mean?
combined.
Like he's windmilling on fast breaks. I just seen a video of him East Bay like between the leg on a fast break in game. Like for that to happen is crazy.
Oh, wait. Is that the white boy?
Yeah, that's
Oh,
the
he's
white
going
boy.
to Georgetown.
Oh, he is.
He's
going
going
to
to Georgetown.
Yeah, he is going.
I
to
know who
Georgetown.
you're. Oh, he
Oh,
ain't
is
better.
that the white boy?
Right. He's not better.
Come
He's
on,
not
man.
better than Zion.
We ain't talked about Black Panther yet. You can't just identify him as the white boy.
No, that's
Whoa.
no. Hey, that's the white boy. That white boy.
He cold.
That white
He
boy
really
good.
is.
That boy good.
He's a cold piece.
The
He
white
is.
guy in Black Panther was actually the hero. Anyways,
He
go
was.
ahead.
He was. No, but
We'll talk about it in the second hour.
Mac McClung is a very great all-around player. He can shoot. He plays defense. He hustles. So you can see it. You know what I mean? But there's so many attributes that Zion contributes that he can. Like Mac will never have as many blocks as Zion.
Sure.
Zion's dunks are more powerful, and he dominates around the rim.
Yeah.
He can bump a player, turn around, and do an inside.
Well, but see,
versus,
the real question again with Zion though is he's doing that against children. Whereas if the other kid is athletic enough to get to where he needs to be from a guard position, he can be okay. Whereas Zion, probably not in college. I'm not even looking at college. I'm looking at the NBA. The NBA, to be 6'8" and you're just athletic, but you're not athletic. There's a difference. There's a difference when you're like, oh, I'm athletic enough to pull off this dunk, or I'm athletic enough
Yeah.
to put my body in a certain situation and bang on you off of
Zion
a
is
flat.
that though.
And last
But
night,
not
Matt
against- not against
McClung,
other-
Matt McClung just became the highest scoring, got the record for highest scoring in Virginia basketball, passing Allen Iverson.
In Virginia basketball?
Yeah.
I
I mean,
honestly
Iverson
think
was
he plays
also scoring. He was also playing football on Fridays.
Mac McClung also plays against bums too, though.
And he's in
and
science
Iverson
class.
was
Right.
not.
He plays with beakers and protractors.
Well, that's cool. Well, that's cool. But no, he plays
I
against
don't know.
bums
I just
too.
said that because he's white. I profiled him. I'm sorry, everybody.
But I do believe that because Zion's not like the defensive strategy at a high school level is triple team that guy with the ball.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
That's
So
what it
Zion's
should
not
be.
bumping one person and going up. He's literally clearing 3 people out and
But
then
they're
and
children.
yamming on his vertical
They're
though.
children.
The fact that you can still take any contact and jump that high and stuff the ball though
Look here.
lets you know that you're athletic.
You're athletic, but the second I'm also now 250, just like you.
Yeah,
that
there's-
bump ain't
there's
the
six,
same.
There's 6'10" kids in high school. Like I mean, you got Bobo. He's
No,
almost
but
7
there's-
foot. You know
no,
what I'm
But
saying?
there's a difference
No.
between athletic defense and skilled defense.
Yeah.
And I think the higher level you play, the more skilled defense you
Yeah.
run into.
Agreed.
It's real.
To where to me, as wild as it was, people don't understand. Rodman was crazy, but he had a skill to him. There was a lot of skill where, look, he never shut down Shaq. So Quan, don't say I tried to say that. But there was times where I saw Rodman D
Ben
up
Wallace
on Shaq
did. Ben
and give
Wallace
him
did.
some problems. You see what I'm saying?
Shoot.
And I'm talking
They
Shaq on
talked
the
about
Lakers,
that.
not old man Shaq. You know,
Right.
there's a skill to that. I mean,
Yeah.
Shaq is obviously the biggest, strongest man on the court.
Yeah,
But you
but-
have
but
a
if you
guy
give
with
him
skill.
certain-
Robin's
you give
skill
him
is
certain
belly jabs
situations.
and rib shots.
Yeah.
Like,
Hey,
Pinch.
whatever it takes.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Rodman
Wow.
was tickling people's belly buttons.
I just can't believe Steve said Rodman's better than Shaq.
Oh my!
I didn't
Where
know- oh
did
my
you
gosh.
hear that? Where?
Exactly.
I got your back,
Every-
Steve.
every
Don't
time-
allow that to happen.
Every time he's
And speaking of Rodman, you're wearing a Rodman
Yep.
Spurs jersey.
That's right. That's right.
We thought you were gonna have the blonde hair with it.
No. I got
At
the
least the
blonde
patches,
shoes.
the
I got the
colorful
blonde.
patches.
No, that would patch out. It would not work out. That would not work out on this side. I got too much smooth to allow that to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I told you this. I wore this jersey for the death of my blackness. So I'll wait until
Wow.
until we get to that.
So
point
we're
in the show.
gonna have the reveal in the second hour if Josh has seen Black Panther yet or not. It's been out for 1 week.
Yep, sure has.
If you haven't seen it in the first week,
If you didn't go on a $5 Tuesday,
I mean, that was like your last saving grace of blackness right there.
Right,
You didn't
that
catch
was
that
it.
$5 Tuesday
I didn't see
movie?
it on Friday, but I seen it on the
You
$5
can't-
Tuesday.
Listen, I
you
can't-
You're still
see,
black.
I can't see IMAX on $5 Tuesday. So let's not even try to throw that out
I
there.
can't revoke black cards, but I got friends that can.
That's all right. That's all right. And I like I said, I already had a preemptive strike. I already took the what are the black movies that all black people should see, and I scored 65 out of 100. That was
no.
a D.
And we'll
that
talk-
was a D.
yeah, we'll talk about that.
But I will say that I was in the top 5 percentile. So I was like, well, apparently I'm Malcolm X. So
Josh's Million Man March starts next week.
I was already ready. It'll
I
be
will not
me,
participate.
myself, and myself.
Oh man, we're gonna get into the movie segment in about 20 minutes. Yeah, and there's a lot of surprises. So if you guys are watching, waiting for us to talk about Black Panther, listen, I might be the blackest man in the room
Facts.
for this movie review. I don't know. They made me feel super black.
It's all right. It happens. It's rough being on this side of the coin, Quan. You
Like
don't
I was
understand.
about to take a halftime to get a dashiki.
like
Put that
you know,
mug
like,
on.
No, like for real, you really don't understand because like
I don't understand
like-
because I'm white. I know.
I know.
I hear it
But,
all the
like,
time.
But like for real, like honestly, like we have to see it from our side, your side, and the in between side all at the same time.
Yeah.
And
We're
wrestle-
going to
man.
talk about
and
that.
wrestle
We're going
with
to talk
that.
about
I hear
that.
you.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And wrestle with that all at once.
All at once.
You throw a
Like-
teaser at Josh, he takes the subject.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He's like,
I'm
let's
ready.
go right
I'm
now.
ready because I'll forget it later. I have to tease.
We're going to get into some serious matters. We're going to go back to the Dallas Mavericks. We talked about Cuban getting fined $600,000 for the tanking comment. And
Couch
that same
cushions.
day, later on that night, it comes out that there was some stuff going on with
Yeah.
employees of the Mavericks.
Did you hear what he said to her?
Go ahead.
Did you hear what he said to the one employee?
No.
Oh, I
Go
don't know
ahead.
if I even want to say it, but
Say
like
it. I mean,
but
you bleep it out.
Basically, all right. So basically, this lady had a meeting with her boss.
Bleep. Oh no, not yet. I'm sorry. Sorry.
I'll censor myself. I can KG myself.
I was trying to help out. My bad.
Jump in the story. I have to set the framework first. And so, all right. So the lady, so the female employee, I don't know if she was white, black, whatever.
Okay.
Had a meeting.
She was
with,
Asian.
I hate you.
She could have been Asian or Hispanic as well.
She could have been Mexican.
Never know.
Or she could have been Latina.
You mistaked her
Or
for
Middle
black
Eastern.
because she's seen Black Panther.
I'm
Could have been Middle Eastern.
so through with you. And so she had a meeting with her boss, and the president of the company asked to also sit in. And so the ladies in the office were like, be careful when you go in there. And like, she's like, what do you mean? Like, what's going on? But like, she had heard stories and whatnot, but she had never really interacted with him. So in the meeting, he asks, well, he doesn't ask. He states that he knows what she's gonna do this weekend. Like he was like, I know what you're doing. Like he asked the guy, what are you doing this weekend? Then he was like, I know what you're doing this weekend. And she was like, oh, really? Well, what am I doing? And he said, you're gonna get G-banged.
Wow.
G-banged.
Wow.
And like, and this is in a meeting. This is in a business meeting. And like, I read that, like when I read it, because I was like preparing myself, like, oh, he's gonna say something that's questionable, whatever. But like for that to come out in a business meeting, that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. And then like another lady was saying how basically when she first took the job for the Mavericks, like she was excited and was telling her girlfriends, and like all these other women from the community were like, be careful with that president.
Wow.
Don't get caught in the elevator with him.
Wow.
Like, don't be in the elevator alone by yourself with him. And I was like,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Like, that's crazy. So, yeah, I was just happy to hear it wasn't Cuban because, you know, the NBA, they'll take your team away.
And I was scared. I was scared about that when I first saw it.
I was too.
You know?
I was like, uh-oh, Cuban. They gonna take your team away.
It's more than a fine.
Yeah. And we know, like
$3 billion mistake.
We know, Cuban can be outspoken. I mean, there are some times where it's just like, dude, just chill out, you know. But I mean, in all honesty, I really like Mark Cuban, and especially the way he came out with this, where he didn't make any excuses. He didn't blame anybody. He said, look, I take full responsibility on this. This is my part. I knew about something. I didn't do anything about it. I should have handled it. Whereas you have so many other people saying, well,
because something had happened before where he had a chance to fire one of these guys,
right? And he didn't do
anything.
It. So I mean,
at least he did take responsibility for that.
So there are a lot of people in power who don't take responsibility, which always leads me to believe nothing is ever going to be done.
But at the same time, with all these things happening so much, like you have to take responsibility and action right away, right when it happens, to be able to squash that, so other women don't get hurt or other people in the workplace don't get hurt.
Right, because once you let something go, then that person who violated,
they feel
anything. Like they can just do whatever they want to do because there's never going to be a punishment for it.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm glad it's getting handled now, but, you know, I mean, this is the time, you know, it's crazy how this year, you know, end of last year, this year, so many people are coming out. And people don't understand why. I know I talked to you guys off the air about my friend, right? You know, she was assaulted, right?
From the at the place with your
right,
your
is a bar, right?
Yeah.
And so
Memo Lounge.
And so here was a funny thing that happened, right? So this guy who assaulted her, when she talked to the detective and told him the story, he said, "Look, you know, we got a couple complaints from other women about similar things
with this guy,
with the same guy, but none of them wanted to press charges." And he asked her, "What do you want to do?" She said, "I want to press charges. I'm suing. I want full extent. Whatever I can do, I want to do it."
Yep.
He said, "Great." So instead of going to arrest him right away, what he did was contact those other women who made complaints, but for whatever reason didn't want to press charges.
Yeah.
Now 2 or 3 other women have stepped up and said, "Okay."
Oh, that's great.
See, now you start to understand this is how it works. Why is it one woman comes out and then all of a sudden 50 women come out of the closet?
Yeah.
Because a lot of times they think they're alone. They think this only happened to me.
And
if I say something, I'll be blackballed from the industry. I'll be fired. I'll lose my job.
Sure.
This will happen.
Sure.
And not only will I lose this job, I won't be able to work anywhere else because I'll be a problem.
Oh.
So they take that and they're quiet. But then somebody comes out, somebody fights it, and then they go, well, that happened to me too. And then somebody else says, oh, those 2 women are standing up. It happened to me too. Like, I mean, that literally is how it works.
Hashtag me too.
And now they have a case with 4 or 5 or 10 in some cases, you know, just hundreds of women.
Steve Wynn.
Coming out.
And it takes you know,
That's what
for
it
anything,
takes.
it takes one
Right.
person to be able to step up to open the mold of the container and
floodgates.
and let people be able to speak on things like this. So, and on the other end of it, like, there has to be some kind of rehab or something for these guys, because it's like,
No.
well, why not?
Look,
Because we live in an evil world. So
Sure.
why is that temptation? What's that sickness they deal with where they think they have that power, where they're tempted to do stuff like that, where we live in an evil world, right?
Yeah.
So we can't just say, these
well,
guys are
be done-
dirty, throw
be
them under
done
the
with
bus.
them.
They're done.
Yeah, no,
It's
no.
like, give these
No.
dudes some
Yeah,
rehab
yeah.
and let them know, like, hey, like,
well, I don't see
if it's a sexual addiction or whatever it might be.
I think, but see, I don't think it's so much of a rehab. I feel like, look, every one of us, could we say things like that? Sure. Would you?
Or do
No.
we in our head?
Right.
But I like I would never think to say something like that to a woman. Like, that never even would creep into my mind. Like, but like, you know
But there's
what I'm saying?
extents to it also.
Like, well, what do you mean?
There's
I
different
think-
extents to sexual harassment.
Right.
Oh,
right.
sure. No, have we all sexually harassed at some point? Sure. Have we all been sexually harassed at some point? Yes.
And I think that's the
Right.
next
That's-
thing you're going to
that's
start
the other
seeing is
thing,
some
like,
guys coming out.
There's some
Right.
Oh,
dude,
yeah.
like
It's
women do
because
stuff.
there's women with power.
Sure,
Yeah.
women have done stuff or said stuff, and you're like, I mean, but as a guy, like, our level of discomfort is different, because it's like, oh, all right.
Yeah,
fair enough.
yeah,
It's so
Like-
crazy to me.
I-
It's so
I'm
crazy to me that that's
I gotta,
true.
I gotta
but
watch
absolutely.
myself. Like,
we'll take
Right.
so much
what
more.
am I giving out?
Yeah.
It's really crazy to me that that's true, but it is. We'll take so much more as a man. Like, wow, like I
Well-
can't believe that happened, but I'm not. I wouldn't say anything
Well,
about it. Like, it's,
But there's
as a
some
man,
men, but there's some men that might want to say something about that.
Sure.
Right.
Their moral compass might be different. Their
Yeah.
uncomfort might be different. Something might have happened to them in the past for
Right.
when a woman does do or say something
right.
that it brings something up that
Very
you know, and we act like men are, we're the strong ones. We want equality. There needs to be equality on all levels.
Well,
you know,
but I think though, like, it's different just in terms of men and women, because I actually was saying this to a lady the other day, and I was like, look, in the end of the day though, we're not propositioned
yeah,
constantly.
yeah, exactly.
Right.
It's different. Women literally, like,
Daily.
Yes, like, literally all the time. Like, you know what I mean? That's their life. Their life is someone making advances. Like, every guy, for the most part, that they know outside of a gay friend
Yeah.
is probably trying to get at you.
Yeah,
to some extent.
Well,
to
even
some
the gay
level.
dudes hit on them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's from a society
certain level,
standpoint
yeah.
though. Like we've been taught in society, like, take a shot, shoot your shot, you know,
Yeah.
and we're told
Right.
that shoot your shot.
Miss
The
every
way
shot
we
you don't
shoot our
take.
shot is what becomes a problem.
Right,
You know
exactly.
what I mean? Like, it's not the fact that we make advances, but actually, it's so crazy.
But then
'cause,
not
like,
every advance is a sexual harassment either.
But they're
Yes,
all taken as
yes,
as
and
they
now
are.
it's that's turning into
Now,
like
now that's
everything
where the
sexual.
line
Yeah.
gets drawn.
That's
too.
where the line
I
gets
honestly
blurred.
believe though
blurred,
that
not drawn, because it should be drawn there.
Yeah.
I honestly believe though that as men we've made our polite passes at women,
Yeah.
and now they're being treated the same way as the guys that don't have any chill or could care less.
And how many
now
times you
they're
just
all
complimented
being
a
treated
girl,
the same.
a woman,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
and you get that look like
Ashley,
you did.
Ashley
It's
Judd.
like, yo.
Ashley
Well, I
Judd
think,
just had that video where she was like, basically the guy called me a sweetheart, and she like freaking like lost it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
And so you have that line where it's, this country is so big. The culture on the West Coast versus the culture in the South versus the culture
Very
in the New
different.
York area. You
Very
got three
different.
completely different places where
very different.
I'm from the Midwest. Most of my family's from the South. You call somebody a sweetheart, sweetie, whatever, it means nothing.
Right.
That's
I
how
moved-
that's a term of endearment.
Right. When I moved out here, I was talking to a woman. I was dealing a game in a casino, and she said something, and I was like, "Sweetie, please, like, whatever." And she was like, "Sweetie, what are you saying?" And I was confused.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
like, what
Yeah.
does she think I just said? Like,
Yeah.
I was literally
Yeah.
thinking, what curse words begin with
yeah.
S? Like,
Did-
you know what
did
I
I
mean?
say
Like,
something else?
what did she
Yeah.
think
That's
that I meant? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and then I started talking to her, and she was like, we resolved
Worked
the
it out,
situation
worked it
between
out.
us.
Sure.
I let her. I apologized because I was at work and she was a guest. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and we went from there and we solved it. But
Yeah.
there's also outside of that, there's the way that we interpret things. I told my wife, I said, look, when a guy hits on you, you can flat out tell him no.
Yeah.
And the worst thing that will happen is he'll call you a name and walk off because his ego is hurt. I said, if a woman approaches me though, and I just tell her no, there's that chance of this woman being upset, her emotions get involved,
Yeah.
and we've seen this happen where now she can go. There was a situation at my job. A woman approached me, and I let her know, look, hey, you're beautiful. I think you're great, but I'm married.
Sure.
If I was single, yeah, but
See,
I'm married.
Don't say
so,
that if I was single.
Right.
Right.
But this is,
that's where
but
it kept-
listen,
you
but
kept
listen,
going.
But let me tell you, this is because these are the exact words I told my wife.
Yeah.
And I told my wife, I say this, and she goes,
Yeah.
my wife couldn't understand. She's like, why would you say all of that? And I said, because if you hurt a guy's feelings, he'll just call you some names, walk off, and be like, whatever. Probably tell his
That'll
boys
be
you
the end
stuck
of it.
up.
That'll be
and
the
that'll
end
be
of
the
it.
end
That'll
of
be the
it.
end of it.
I said, if I hurt
Yep.
this woman's feelings,
She can
and
say
then she
whatever.
goes to HR or whatever and go, he hit on me and
Sure.
he's sexually harassing me, what is my defense?
Nothing.
We didn't have this conversation
In
in front of 30 people.
Yeah.
The
And
best thing to do is
you know
wear a
what I
body
mean?
cam
And
at
so-
all times.
All time.
And so that is
Streaming
where
live on
we-
Facebook.
You see what I'm saying? So
Hold on, can you repeat that?
you're gonna have people who take things
Ma'am, I'm
too
streaming
far.
live on Facebook right now, so I have 3,475 people as witnesses.
You're gonna have people who take things too far. Of course, you know,
Definitely.
you give a woman a compliment,
Yeah.
she takes it the wrong way. Those things will happen. That's happened
Right.
before. It happened. I get people who, you know, I mean, you hold the door for somebody, they don't say thank you. I've seen people yell and argue about that.
I shut
mean,
the
it
door
just-
on them.
It just happens.
I trip
you know
them.
what I mean? So, you know, some people be mad, but
I just say you're
at the
welcome
same
if they don't
time,
say
like,
thank you.
it's
Seriously.
all about for sure. It's all about
so
just
passive
being
aggressive. Fuck.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
It's all about just being
Jesus, again, Alonzo.
respectful in general to people. So, you know, just use your brain, use a lot of common sense when dealing with these things.
Yeah.
and
Yeah, I just
You
want to
gotta
take
keep
like
most of
one
it
step back
minimum.
real quick though, because we were talking about it and then we jumped, not subjects, but we jumped like the direction. I think instead of us putting like the mental illness or like, yo, you have a sexual addiction stamp on it, what we really need to do is talk about it's really self control at the end of the
Yeah.
day. It's
Yeah.
really
Definitely.
willpower.
Definitely.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It's just as a society finding a ground of what's acceptable and what's not, which is always different because every woman's gonna feel differently about it. But
Yeah.
I had a close friend of mine post an Instagram video of just, you know, like she's a feminist. She shaved her head.
Yeah.
She wasn't wearing a bra. And she was wearing a white tank top. And she's at the gas station and some guys just like going off.
Yeah.
And you know, like her whole point of the whole thing was like, I get it. I know what I'm doing. But why did you have to take it so far? Why did you have to tell me what you want to do to my body? Why did you have to tell me?
And so, but the other side of it, women need to try to understand how the male works. Like women want to go out and like do those little protests where it's like, okay, we're running around with no shirt on,
Hashtag free the
Slut
nipple.
walk.
you know,
Free the
and,
nipple.
Hashtag free the nipple.
and you do stuff like that, and it's like you're not even trying to, you know, help the situation out.
But
and
But
not,
to her
not
point-
saying you have a right to do anything
My-
because of that, but at the same time, like, ladies, be a little more modest.
well, but
if,
my,
if you
my
know
only,
how
my only response to that though is because we live in this country, that is a thought. Whereas if you like, whenever I talk to anybody from another country or whenever I've gone
Yeah.
to other countries, like they'll have basically almost porn on TV as a
Yeah.
commercial.
right.
You remember Euro
But
Trip
what-
where it
what
was
other
like
countries?
now with less pulp. Like, you know what I mean?
right,
The girl like the girls are
Yeah.
naked in the orange juice commercial. Like
but what other countries?
Europe?
Okay,
like,
Europe.
Like
Yeah.
all like Europe, Africa.
okay, Middle East.
Not
Oh,
at
well,
all.
no, but that's
Okay,
opposite.
okay, but that's what I'm saying. So different cultures
sure.
look at things in totally different ways.
Sure.
To her point though, because I felt
Yeah,
the
go
same
ahead.
way that you said.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I mean, you hashtag free the nipple. What do you expect? You know. But to her point, it's like I expect to be looked at. You know, I
Yeah.
expect for people to gaze. I expect
Yeah.
people to gawk. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
That's
But
what
at
she
the
wants.
end of the day,
Can't
like
touch.
the guy took it to the point where he had to say something to her. You had
Yeah.
to verbalize your sexual
Yeah, yeah,
thoughts.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what got to her. It's like, okay, think
Yeah,
your thoughts.
that's
Look at
real.
me. I'm gonna get in my car and go about my business and not have a second
Yeah.
thought about you ever again.
Exactly.
But the guy had the need to verbalize, and then at the end of it, say, if you don't want us to say anything, don't dress like
Yeah,
that.
that's
And
true.
her whole point is, you didn't have to say anything.
Yeah.
You could think what you want. Like you're a man, that's gonna
Yeah.
come naturally. You know, like you're allowed to think what you want. But did you have to verbalize it and make me uncomfortable by saying it? Did you have
Yeah.
to verbalize it?
Yeah.
But Josh, have you ever picked up any women from the Hard Rock after a Magic Mike show? Real talk, this is not even a joke.
No.
What's up?
No, I haven't.
Okay,
I need to know where this
try
is
it.
going.
Try it.
I mean,
It's a
Hey,
wrap.
Sometimes it's some very unattractive ladies, and they're very excited that they saw these half-naked men, and they're very vocal about it.
Right.
And
I mean,
sometimes they might take it out on their driver and be vocal about some stuff with the driver and bring up some conversations. And this is like the first minute and a half of me pulling out of the Hard Rock.
Right.
Pulling out, huh?
I mean, I've.
Yes.
I mean,
hey.
I've literally
Going off what
this
you
thing
said.
goes both ways. I
Oh,
mean,
no.
I literally just it was this week. It was less than 7 days ago. It was an older woman. I don't want to give too much information about her.
What she look like?
Older woman.
How old?
She was not my cup of tea.
Okay.
White.
she was-
She's white.
She's a big girl then.
I will
of
just
Caucasian
say
descent.
she was an older woman, and
She had big feet.
She told me that she was single. She came to Vegas because that was on her bucket list. She had been knocking a couple things off her bucket list. She bought a truck that's a stick shift, learned how to drive it, an off-wheel truck. So I was talking with her about the truck for a second. She started talking about she came to Vegas, wanted to play poker, play in a tournament, talked about that for a second. And then she told me that I also was on her bucket list. Now.
For what, though?
Because she was
To
Caucasian.
deal her cards.
No, Quan.
You're the famous Hollywood Huff.
No. Listen.
We've
I
heard
want-
all about your
I
dealing,
want some of that Huff
So-
stuff.
Right.
Josh.
Anything that rhymes sounds good. That's why you got to go with it.
I can
Huff
go
stuff?
rhyme. I
Yeah.
can go rhyme.
Anything that
I can
rhymes.
rhyme. No, I can't flow. No, I can't. I'll
Josh
go
on the freestyle too.
Right.
So
That's it. That's
what
all
I'm
I got.
saying is, guys and women and men take these things different ways sometimes. But at the same time, it happens both ways. This ain't
Did-
the first
did you
time
get
it's
her number?
happened. No, I did not.
Don't you
He's
agree
married.
that
You
you're
look
so-
da-
you look
on this
down when
show?
you said that.
Nah, I
You
didn't.
look down when you said that.
because I'm trying to think
I'm reading your body
exactly
language
like
right now.
how I told her no and how I,
Just say no,
kind
Steve.
of
No means
eased
no.
out of it. I kind of like just started
Sometimes.
talking about other things, like just
Right.
because, like, but that's
How
the
about those
situation.
So that truck.
How about
that truck.
How about
But
those Knicks?
But that's the situation you put a person in, male or female, whether you work with them or in this situation you're a guest, because any guest that comes into a casino spends money.
Yeah.
The more money they spend, the more power they have.
They think they have.
Or they think they have.
And sometimes they do
But
have.
but
Yeah,
that
sometimes
but
they do
that
have.
power they can take to certain individuals in a casino and say this employee disrespected me, and they
Yep.
can make up any story they
Sure.
want to,
Sure.
and to please that guest who's spending whatever that dollar amount is for the casino,
Yep.
they might fire you just to make that guest happy.
Yep.
So you talk about sexual harassment to the T, like, you know what I'm saying? What does a person do?
Yeah.
Now, granted, everybody's got options. There's plenty of things to do. There's a right thing, a wrong thing. There's some things that are in the middle.
And I
But
think
what
that's
does a
judgment-
person do?
I think
What
that's a
does
judgment you have to
person
know
do?
to be able to make it at the time.
Exactly.
Right.
So it's always going to be that situation. There will always be that line of, when it's saying something, saying too much, or when does culture matter? I think at the end of the day, it's all about being respectful to a person, regardless of how they dress or how they look.
Yeah.
I've seen two women.
But and stop right there.
Okay.
We live in Las Vegas.
Right.
So those of you just tuning in, we live in Las
Newsflash.
Vegas where
Right.
they sell, what do they sell the most in Las Vegas?
Right now, that marijuana.
Not marijuana. What do they sell the most to people in Las Vegas?
Alcohol?
Not a product necessarily. Sex.
Oh,
Sex.
yeah,
Oh,
gotcha.
I was
Okay,
gonna
yeah.
give you alcohol.
They sell
I
sex
was
like
gambling?
crazy.
Gambling?
It took us so long to get a
In-
dang
in Las,
Chick-fil-A
in
here.
Las Vegas, in our society, you can't even watch a Carl's Jr. commercial
Man.
without it
Yeah.
being a half naked woman with ketchup dripping on her breast.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So
Secret
look
sauce.
look at
Technically.
That's what she said.
but you can't drive down the street and being in Las Vegas so long, I'm pretty sure all of us are kind of numb to the billboards, right? We're not even
we
really
don't
noticing
even-
them
yeah.
until we have somebody from out of town
I still
that's
do.
not.
Man, Josh is on
Of
one.
course, he stops.
Josh
He
is
slows
on
down.
one.
Josh puts his hazards on.
Takes a picture.
Let me get a tow truck right now.
Hey.
I broke down. But they're selling this all the time.
Right.
On social media, we see it everywhere now. Like, who gets the most likes on social media?
the
The
people
Instagram models.
The people that are
You
half
know?
naked or fully naked.
Yeah,
Right.
Least clothes, more likes.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's you see, your daughter's coming up looking up to people like that.
Yeah.
So it's up to us to let people know, let your daughters know, your sisters know, your whoever know that that's not right. But it's hard when it's like, but I got 5 likes on my picture. They got 24,307 likes
Yeah.
on theirs. I mean,
I think
I'm giving them more power.
the
Basically.
biggest
Yeah.
the best analogy was made by Dave Chappelle probably about 12, 15 years
no,
ago.
thank you. That's what I was laughing at earlier when he was talking.
Yeah, when he
you're
said,
wearing
you know,
you're wearing a
you
uniform.
know, she said, just because I dress like this doesn't mean I'm a whore.
Yeah, yeah.
And he said, well, that's like me, Dave Chappelle, the comedian, putting on a police officer's uniform, and somebody comes running up to me asking for help. And he's like, just because I dress this way doesn't mean I'm a cop.
I'm a police officer.
So you may not be a whore, but you're wearing a whore's uniform.
Yeah.
So I mean, like,
no, because
back to sports,
right?
no, I mean, but when you were speaking, that was exactly what I was thinking about, because like that's, you know, when you dress a certain way, you can attract certain people's attention that way.
right?
Yeah.
Like me personally, sure, that's great to look at, but does that mean I want to go talk to you now?
Right.
Probably not. But for some people, that could be their button.
Yeah, that's the
And
thing.
oh my goodness, you're doing everything that I wish somebody would do. So now I'm gonna say what I think you wish for me to say.
Right.
Like it's a little different, and so you know what I mean. And that was a perfect analogy. Like it's officer, there's these guys over here. Come on, come with us. What are you doing? Come with us. Just because I'm dressed this way does not mean that I'm a police officer. Like
I think.
But I go ahead.
so
Oh
smart.
yeah. I just at the same time, like, that makes 100% sense. You know, that makes 100% sense. But we take things so far as people.
Sure.
You know what
We
I
got to
mean?
do better on both sides.
On both sides,
both
you
sides.
do.
I think so.
And it's so difficult because, you know what I mean, like nowadays, like we all say no means no, but does it really? You know, like at the end of the day, when you're asking someone something and they say they're not interested, we read it different ways. Like, you say you're not interested.
Because
but
women play hard to get. And
Right.
so you don't know because you're like,
Say-
well, the last girl I dated was playing hard to get, and she's like, oh, I'm so glad you pursued me.
Right.
But your pursuit for one girl could be stalkerish to the next girl. You know what I'm
to the
saying?
next girl, exactly. So there's no middle ground. There's
Steve, if you don't put the fifth man down,
yeah, but there's no middle ground. There's no clear understanding from a society standpoint because there's so many different opinions and thoughts. It's like, at what point in time do we realize that, okay, I don't say anything, or hey, no, that's okay to approach or pursue? You know what I mean? It's so difficult, and it just kind of the times are changing, and
Steve,
I feel
wrap it
like
up
it's
for
going
us.
to go
We're
a long way.
yeah, I think we're always taught, you know, no means no. But then we're also taught, if at first you don't succeed, try again. Be persistent, never give up. You know what I mean? Like if she says, like, if A doesn't work, try option B. You know, we're always taught that. But when we're dealing with a relationship or in that sexual thing, you don't necessarily know exactly where that ground is, but you have to use your common sense. You have to gauge it. And at the end of the day, I'll get my music on. At the end of the day, you just got to be respectful to other people and their wishes. And
dust yourself off and try again.
Dust yourself off and try again.
Sometimes it's just try and shut it down. That's it.
Yeah.
You get the wrong rhythm, I'm shutting it down.
Rest in peace, Aaliyah.
R.I.P. man.
Shout out to Aaliyah.
Give me the dance, Steve. I know you got it.
There was the dance to this?
What?
I'm just kidding. That was a joke.
You never saw the video?
Sorry,
I seen the video.
I was looking down.
Can we
I didn't see your face. Once I saw your face, I was like,
Oh, okay.
Obviously he knew that there was a dance.
You know, I knew this and rock the boat. No, I'm just kidding.
Wow.
That's another stop and take it in.
I miss Aaliyah.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Rock the boat.
There'd never be another Aaliyah.
Nah.
They tried.
They tried
Never
with
be.
Beyonce. They tried.
They tried with Ashanti,
They
but
tried
the
with-
sideburns.
Yeah, it
you
was
just
a
couldn't.
Cyber. We
Beyonce's
couldn't.
on a different level.
we
That's
couldn't-
not. They didn't try to replace. It wasn't the same style now.
Beyonce like pop queen.
Beyonce's pretty dope.
Aaliyah's really hip hop R&B, but Beyonce is pop queen.
But Aaliyah was a real dancer too.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
true.
saying? Like she knew
Yeah.
how to dance.
I mean, so was J-Lo, but they weren't the same.
J-Lo didn't make the music though.
Yeah.
It is, you know,
She didn't make as good as music is
At
what you're saying?
all.
Okay.
Yeah, she wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aaliyah
I like her
made
better
dope
as a fly
music
girl than
Right.
yeah.
I like her better as a fly girl than an artist anyway.
Yeah. I think we all like her better as a fly girl.
Right.
Fly girl J-Lo is the best J-Lo.
I don't know. The fine wine J-Lo isn't too bad.
Oh, the fine wine.
This
there-
J-Lo
I don't
right
think
now is
there's-
a problem.
This J-Lo right now is a
I don't-
I know.
yeah.
She like 50. Still got everybody lurking.
Yeah, I got a couple
Good for her.
off-air stories about her too. They happened at a workplace, so I can't talk about them.
There it is. You just talked about your workplace for 25 minutes.
That'll be.
But I'm not
that'll
telling
be
you
in
which
the
And all of a sudden
off-air-
now he can't talk about his workplace.
That'll
I
be in
can't
the
talk
off-air show.
this.
The Midnight Podcast.
Live streaming
Hollywood.
on Josh's Instagram still.
Yes.
And I wish I had a different transition for this, but U.S. women's hockey won the gold medal.
Amazing.
This is just next on the list. I'm sorry.
It was amazing.
Got to deal with it.
Josh, talk about it because I know you've been watching it a lot. I caught the tail end of it. I didn't catch them until they were actually in overtime.
Yeah, that was when I started.
But
That
they
was-
won the gold,
that was when I
which
started.
if you've been watching the Olympics, U.S. has struggled this year a lot with the gold count.
They have.
And obviously our winter is not usually as good as our summer. Summer, we usually dominate first or second pretty easily. And speaking of lift rides, shout out to my people from Atlanta, Georgia, the 4 white people that were in the car saying, well, you know why summer's better? Because they get them people from Africa to run up and down. They thought I was going to laugh with them. I'm like, that's not very funny, sir. And then we passed the Trump Tower.
Wait, they were from Atlanta?
Wow.
They were the white people from Atlanta, though.
Right, that part of Atlanta. Okay.
And then we passed Trump Tower. Oh,
Your
my
racism
gosh.
is showing.
Bro, they almost worshiped that Trump Tower.
Wow.
Did you see on
was
President's
bad.
Day how oh my goodness.
Not my President's Day.
I was on President's Day and I was driving. I was on a Lyft ride and literally I had about 15 pickup trucks drive past, all with American flags. And then
I saw those.
There
I
were
saw
some
a lot of
more
those down on the
there were
strip.
some more that were like, Trump's America. And then somebody else had cold beer. And I told my girl, I was driving a white girl, and I was like, yeah, we gonna hang back. We
We're gonna hang back.
We gonna hang back we gonna let them go.
She didn't understand.
She
right now we're in
kind
the
of got it.
South.
She kind of got it, but I was like, nah,
Yeah.
Right.
we gonna hang this back.
Yeah, that's
Nah.
I don't know if they can understand that I'm driving you.
Right.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. I'm doing this for your safety as
This
well.
for your safety as well. You may not understand it, but
It's
want
probably
this to
worse in
go-
their eyes knowing that you're in the car with me.
What?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Oh, wow, man.
Anyways, but yeah, so the Winter Olympics has been a struggle. A lot of people that we thought were going to do really good in the Olympics have not.
Yeah.
It's been bad. But Team USA hockey team women's won the gold last night
First time in 20 years.
Amazing shootout. It was fun. I watched most of overtime and then saw the shootout. I was actually watching it in the car. It was on my tablet. I'm like,
oh,
I'm
nice.
good.
There you go.
Like, you're getting your location. I don't need the map. I know where the Luxor is at. So you're good. But Josh, go ahead, man. You've been watching it a lot.
Man, well, look, I'll say this. First off, those overtime rules for international hockey just are unfair. Because just I know a lot of people don't even watch hockey, but basically the hockey stadiums in America and the NHL are smaller because our stadiums are more built for basketball. So the ice isn't as big. Whereas whenever it's international hockey, the ice is like almost doubled in size.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So speed is like a serious killer because now if you let me get loose, like these girls were just getting loose. Like every time like a couple girls would get the puck, they were like, I'm out. And like there's no spit, there's no like cuz like in an American arena, you can track that person down pretty quick.
Hockey segment
even if you're
sponsored by
fast.
Body Armor.
Even if you're fast, you know what I mean? Even if you're fast, like I can, it's like playing a fast person in basketball. You sag off a little bit and you basically get them to a spot where you want them and you can control them again.
Right.
Is that what you do?
Yeah.
No, I was just asking you personally. Is that what you
Sure.
do?
If I
Okay.
know you're faster than me and
No.
you can't shoot, I'm not gonna let you drive. I'm gonna give you 5 steps.
I'm gonna hack them with the ball, and hopefully the refs don't call it and they get a turnover.
Well, in pickup, I just say check.
right,
Check ball.
Check ball.
Y'all don't.
You're not going past me.
No, you want to come guard him? Like, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, that's another conversation for another day.
Right. Sorry.
But yeah, I mean, it was really cool. But for the overtime rules, they go 4-on-4, so it's even more ice.
Yeah.
And so like it was just back forth, and
They do that in regular hockey too, right?
no. In
Regular hockey's like 3-on-3, isn't it?
3-on-3 during the regular season. During the playoffs,
You just
it's
5-on-5.
5-on-5,
Okay.
20 minutes. Like they did 4-on-4, 20 minutes,
Okay.
and that was insane. Like I was like, oh my
Okay.
gosh, these girls are gonna faint.
Wow.
Like,
Wow.
but they played so well. They really showed a lot of effort and a lot of heart. They got a penalty the last 2 minutes. So like the end of the game, the end of overtime, they had to actually kill off a penalty too, which was even crazier. So they were able to kill that off. Then they took the lead in the shootout.
That shootout was intense.
It was, man.
Gosh.
It was. And they couldn't, like, they never really were able to get all the way, to the point where you felt comfortable. Like, all they needed was
And a
one
lot of
more
people
goal.
were upset that it's a shootout, not, just keep playing for a final. But I like the shootout because the intensity of that was someone scores, you're like, oh no, now we have to score here.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It was intense.
They do that in the World Cup. Like, I mean, at some point, you know what I mean? Like, well, look, 4-on-4, 20 minutes, they couldn't do that again.
A lot of people saying that might have been like the NBA fan, the NFL fan.
Sure.
You know, where you're not used to something like that.
Sure. The finality of it.
Yeah.
Like, you should allow us to win this on our own terms.
Yeah.
But 4-on-4 and that much ice, that's downright criminal. That's crazy. That's too much ice to have to cover.
I think that's where a lot. I mean, granted, there are a decent amount of Americans who watch hockey, but games like soccer, hockey, where generally the scores are fairly low, less than 5 points are being scored.
Sure.
Especially with soccer,
total.
A lot of American fans
1-0.
don't understand. Right. Yeah. A lot of American fans don't understand all the strategies and the excitement. And while seeing someone attempt to score is just as exciting
as seeing
as
them
a
score.
score. Yeah. You know, just seeing them go.
Speaking
at
of
the
soccer,
goal.
we're looking for to get some Las Vegas Lights free tickets for you guys in the near future. So
just
go ahead.
let me know.
Yeah. So when you watch these Olympic games, and people don't always know all the rules, or they probably don't even know the rules of regular hockey, let alone Olympic hockey.
Yeah,
and the difference is right. So when you get down to a shootout, it's just nerve wracking because you're just thinking like we could lose on this
right now.
Stupid, like you know what
now.
I mean? It's just it doesn't make sense to people, but. I was watching it and the end of it and I was just like on the edge of my seat. I hadn't seen any of the game. I just looked up and it was on and I was like, oh, this is us. And then somebody said, this is the gold medal game.
Gold medal.
I was like, this is the game? Like I was so like right there I was like, come on. Like somebody like I was like in it right away. So, and then she hit her with the and one mixtape.
The oops I did it.
She broke that girl's ankle so bad.
Yeah. You don't see a lot of moves like that in hockey like that.
She got her. I mean, to end it on that was definitely that was pretty American.
Yeah.
So
that was pretty American.
That was pretty American.
We go out with a bang, baby. Yeah. We go out with a bang, or we go out
taking an L, or we're getting the highlight.
Shout out to the U.S. women's hockey team for the win. Shout out to Canada for second place, getting that silver medal, and not putting it on their neck.
She didn't want it.
Hey,
let's talk about that. So they I'm not sure who it was. It was only one of them, right?
It was only one.
So
that
they put the silver medal on your neck. You still won a medal in the Olympics. Like, granted, they wanted to win the gold. They put it on her neck. She took it right off. She didn't want that silver medal because she felt like she lost. But in the Olympics, there's 3 places. You have 3 opportunities to win something at least. You're not doing it for yourself. You're doing it for your country.
Yeah.
So not only are you being selfish for yourself, but you're being selfish for your teammates and for your whole entire country who's like, look, we still got the silver medal. It's a team sport. So to do that, if you're in a single sport where you're, an ice skater or something, it's still selfish because you're still doing it for your whole country.
That's even more selfish because it's just me, and I'm only competing against myself, really. I just didn't. Maybe my
so you might not want it because hey, I didn't do good enough to even get the silver or whatever.
But I don't deserve this.
So what do you think? Because I know in the pre-show, you guys were yelling at me.
So,
and you had just a little soliloquy to start us off. so now I got some tough road ahead.
Go ahead.
But I mean, we were like you said, we were talking about on the pre-show, and and I did find it interesting because the one commentator, the one American commentator that had won in '98, which was the last time we won gold. I thought we had won gold a few other times, but apparently they kept bringing up '98.
We're supposed to.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's always Canada. It's us or them. And I think one other time we didn't get to the gold medal game, we won bronze. So we usually are them. We're usually the people crying. And she was saying that basically like a hockey medal finale is like the saddest thing because there's always the elation on one side and the like complete despair on the other. And if you watched all the Canadian girls, like all of them were crying,
especially in a shootout.
Yeah. All of them were crying, and like
that close.
And a couple of them, like like they were trying to make it look like I'm strong for camera. Like they put the medal on their neck, and they were like, "Thank you."
Yeah.
Once that medal went on their neck, it was like, and I was like, "Oh shoot, she's not okay."
Yeah.
And she basically was saying she was like, they don't look at it like they won silver.
Yeah.
They look at it like they lost gold.
Right.
And so because there's like we just talked about the finality of it all. You know what I mean? This was 4 years. This was a culmination of 4 years to get to this point. And I think the other big thing that we're not even thinking about is they don't have another opportunity for the most part.
Yeah.
They don't have any other outlets. Like there aren't any real huge female hockey leagues. There's no female NHL. So like these women for them, This is their moment.
This is it.
Right.
So when you get to your moment and you lose, I think that is a little bit different. It is a little bit different than, okay, we're in the NBA and we didn't get the gold, but I'm about to go play for the championship next year. You know what I mean? It's a little bit different.
With that being said, though, doesn't that speak to your character of how you react to when you're taking those losses?
Sure. But I mean, I look, for me, I truthfully, no, I'm a bad loser. I probably would. I don't know if I'd take it off, but I probably would have some choice words for the media after.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a bad loser too. I don't like losing at all. I'm super competitive, and I try to really think about the situation. But when you have a game like that where you played your all, you gave everything that you can, and you did well. You didn't get blown out in a gold medal game. It came down to a shootout, and it came down to the last shot. You know what I mean?
It went into overtime in the shootout.
Like you literally have nothing else to leave on the ice.
You gave it everything.
Nothing else to leave on the ice. With that being said, it's like, okay, as I'm taking silver and I'm leaving the gold behind, they literally just came up just a little bit better, and you have to have that respect for them and take your win to the fact that it was that close. You're one shot away from being a gold medalist. It was that close. You know what I mean?
And you'll have that silver medal forever that a lot of people don't have any Olympic medals. I have one that I bought. I'm joking. I don't have one.
I was like, you bought a medal?
Right. But she's gonna put that on a resume. You're not gonna tell somebody. You're not gonna not say that I was a silver medalist in the Olympics. You're gonna say that, and that's an achievement. That's a high achievement.
And I think it's hard because in the Olympics, once the game's over, and the medal round's over, it's like half an hour, and they're giving the medals out. They're not waiting a day for people to be able to
absorb what just happened.
Absorb the frustration and the heartache.
For them, it wasn't even that long. It was like 5-10 minutes. They just had to roll that carpet out.
Yeah, the only
Are those greasy headphones or like
my head or hat or something?
Oh, ears.
We're good.
Ears hurt.
So,
my ears at the end of the show would be like, bring the blood circulation.
That's because
back.
Quan gets new headphones and puts the old padding on them.
Bro, those are brand new headphones.
No, those right there are brand new. Those are.
I got a whole round of headphones for everybody on that side.
I'm very proud of you.
Come on.
I think the only thing you can compare this to, even remotely, is probably football, in the sense of how it's so hard to get to a Super Bowl as a football team. The Patriots make it look like, or make you feel like it's easy and anybody can do it, but a lot of there are still some teams who have never won a Super Bowl. I don't know how many haven't made it to the Super Bowl. You look at when players make it to the Super Bowl, knowing that this could be a once-in-a-career shot of winning a Super Bowl ring, and they lose. And we've seen, like, Cam Newton walk off the field. Tom Brady this year walked off the field.
Did he?
They said he didn't shake.
Yeah, he didn't shake anybody's hand.
He didn't shake anybody's hand. He just walked off the field.
Yeah, we talked about that. He pulled the Cam Newton, but didn't get the Cam Newton held for it.
Yeah. So I mean, I
because
think
their loss was his fault. But anyway,
and so I look at
he dropped the trophy.
I look at this in almost a similar fashion, where it's really hard to explain to someone what it feels like to lose a game of that magnitude.
Sure.
And in the Olympics, like you guys said,
especially that close,
right? This being this close, and they may never get another shot at this. The next chance the team will even have a shot is 4 years from now.
Fine.
Well, that
Canada will.
That player might not be in there.
That player may not make it. That's what I'm saying.
Sure.
So
she might not.
So for her, this is the closest she's ever come to an achievement. She may never have another chance or opportunity.
But was she there 4 years ago when they won the gold?
I don't know.
So
that I don't know.
Right. I don't
She's
know.
like, I got a better one.
But here's
I'll wear this one for my house.
Yeah,
right.
That one I don't know.
So here's what I look at. Like yes, is there a part of sportsmanship that says, you know what, it's kind of an unwritten rule. You should be a good sportsman. You lost to a better competitor. They played a fair game. Shake their hand, congratulate them, walk off the field, take your loss like a man. That's the way we talk about it. Or like a woman, right? So take your loss and suck it up and take your loss. But in that emotion right after the game, like even with Cam Newton,
you're raw.
In that emotion right after the game,
you're raw.
You are hurting.
Yeah.
Like, how many times have you talked to somebody and you were hurt and you said something, and then later you were like, you know what?
I'm sorry.
I was hangry.
I was
you know
hungry.
what I'm saying? Like,
I was just about to say,
hey, you know what I mean? So how many times
That's
is just
Steve
emotion?
every pre-show when he's yelling at me.
that's where the nibs come in.
That's why he travels with nibs.
I didn't get enough nibs.
He travels with them nibs to keep. You know what I mean, like,
so
want to get away.
So there's that aspect, that level of emotion. A lot of people who've never competed, never played in sports, they don't know what that feels like.
Yeah.
They have no concept to know what it's like. Alonzo Mourning said when they won that ring in Miami, he said those young players will never know what it's like to go your whole career
and
he was saying even hit a point where you feel like I'm gonna retire and not get a ring.
Yeah.
I'm never gonna make it.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you make it.
Yeah.
And these guys, they'll never know what that struggle is like. They starting their career off with a ring.
Dwayne Wade.
You see what I'm saying? Started his
Dwayne
career
Wade was
off.
what, second year? That was like his second year in the league.
A champion. So a lot of people
A
don't
lot
know
of that
what it's
was
like.
because of his work
when they
ethic,
won it,
Yeah, to lose the biggest game like that, and literally like 15, 20 minutes later, you got somebody in your mind giving you the biggest loser award. To Canada and to everybody who watched the Olympics, it's a silver medal. It's great.
But here's
To
the
the
thing, you know
competitor
before
you
the
just
game,
lost.
right? You know 3 hours ahead of time.
There's a chance
You're going to lose.
Absolutely.
So you have to know, like, okay, if I lose, I have to maintain my composure. I'm not doing this just for myself. I'm doing this for my teammates and for my country.
Okay, it's easy to say like, oh, okay, when my parents die, I'm going to keep it together. I'm going to hold it. I'm going to be strong for everybody.
Bro, you
And
can't
then
put
walk
parents'
out there.
death to getting a silver medal.
That's how
a bad
big it
analogy.
is to some
That's a bad
people.
analogy, bro.
That's how
That's a
some
bad
people
analogy.
think it.
That's a bad analogy.
No.
That's a bad analogy.
No, but I see where he's coming from.
That's a bad analogy, guys.
Well, no. Look, what he's talking about is in terms of the raw emotion.
Kel, back me up because you want to back me up, and you're not backing me up.
This is huge. I'm okay. I'm not okay.
You're not.
I'll give it to you. That is not. It is losing a championship game, not the same as losing a parent.
Okay,
No.
cool. That's all I wanted to hear.
But listen.
No.
On the level of emotion, it is very high. It is very unpredictable.
It's
it is
a high level of emotion.
You don't know
It's a high
exactly.
level of emotion.
You don't know
Not-
exactly how you
not
will
if you
feel.
speak to
You
your
don't-
character
you don't know-
as an athlete, though. As
It's
an athlete,
not.
you have
It's
to,
not something you can always.
Listen,
contain and
you don't know
control.
exactly when your parents going to die. You know exactly when this game's going to be over. You could be the second place team.
Okay.
There's a big difference in that. You have to, as an athlete, as a professional athlete, as an amateur Olympian, you have to know I might not win everything. I have to be good for not just myself, but for my teammates and for my entire country. The world is watching you. Take that medal off your neck, and we're looking at that like you might.
To get some of my
You might
Canadians
accept
in
it.
on this.
A lot of other people are like, yo, that's not cool.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, we're not talking about her walking off. We're not talking about her being upset and
take it
and
off
just
and throw it on
crying.
the ground.
Yeah,
Is what
but
I'm
at
saying,
the end of the
you
day,
know,
though,
like-
she knows, like everybody's watching this gesture.
And my boy Chapman says she has a goal. She won in 14.
Oh, okay, so she already won the gold. That changes a lot.
ain't
too.
That does change a
That
lot.
Now
changes
you're being a
a
little
lot.
spoiled brat.
Right. but at that point in time, like, you
But,
you
you know,
stayed there. You're there
spray
for the
painted gold.
ceremony. You're waiting to get handed that medal.
Yeah.
You didn't walk off and go to the locker room. You knew what you were gonna do. They went to hand you a medal and you said, you know what? I don't want this, and I know you guys are watching, and I want you guys to see me take this off. Now what's it? And then you got to go to the mindset behind it. Like, what's the reasoning?
Yeah.
Is it because she felt like they got cheated? Did she feel like
No,
no, you don't know that though.
yeah,
You don't know what her mindset
And
is.
someone in the comments said Lindsey Vonn lost this gold and silver and had a huge smile on her face winning the bronze.
Look, like I said,
There are a
like
lot
I
of
said,
Canadians that were still,
there's different,
holding it together. I mean,
I only go back to see that's the difference. That's why I don't think that that we're not all hearing. The lady,
What?
the other. I'm telling you, in terms of the other commentator. The other commentator, when she said what she said, I had to hold that into a high regard because she had done both.
Yeah.
She had
I
won
respect that.
and she had lost.
Yeah.
You know
I
what I'm
respect
saying?
that.
And so, like, for her to say that no one understands, because she
Yeah.
was saying that, she was like, you all don't even understand.
right.
And so I have to hold that. There's weight there.
Hey,
You know what I mean? Like,
and
I can't look away from you've been it. You've really experienced it.
I get that. It would have been, honestly, if she would have left the ceremony altogether, then your argument would make more sense. You know what I mean? If it's like I don't even want to be here for this because we should have won, and
But
she
see,
goes,
that
that's
is a more
different.
that is a more bratish move to me.
A little bit, but
because
but now
I'm
you're
not
trying
even
to,
out here on my team.
But now you can
taking my
blame it
foot
on
off
raw
the
emotion.
team.
But listen, we don't know why you're not out. Maybe you got sick in the back.
Right.
But
either way-
listen. Maybe you don't know that.
TMZ's bringing that out.
Listen. That's
TMZ's
fine.
bringing that out.
Okay, that's
not
fine.
gonna be
Listen.
good later.
That could be an excuse. Right now, she goes up on stage. She takes it off to make a statement.
Right, exactly.
showing-
That's my point.
She's showing that she doesn't care about
If
this.
you're not there at all, you can blame it on raw emotion. You can blame it on the fact that I'm upset. I just lost.
Yeah.
I don't want nothing to do. You're at the podium, like you're making a statement. It was intentional, and that's the big difference. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. I get the whole we will never understand the feeling thing, but that action wasn't based off the feeling of in the moment,
No,
it was a thought process.
She definitely thought about that.
You have to have.
I think that the biggest one thing always I think most people don't understand is when we play pickup games, we might have played for a high school team or something, and at that stage there's only a few competitors where winning truly is everything. There was a baseball player, I can't remember his name to save my life. It was a baseball player talking about other athletes who played other sports and then they came to baseball and they couldn't play baseball. They couldn't stay in the league, not because they didn't have the skill, not because the talent wasn't there, not because the drive wasn't there. They couldn't handle losing as much as baseball players lose throughout the season to still go on and become a champion.
Because look, for a good baseball team, if you win 100 games, that means you lost 62.
Exactly.
That's a lot of losses.
So a good basketball team is losing
legit.
20 games, right?
Yeah.
20, 30 games, somewhere around there.
20 games, you are a great team.
Right. You see?
Yeah.
In baseball, you're losing so much. Like every team, they say there's going to be games you win, lose. There's just a span of the season where it's about 20, 30, maybe 40 games that you have to win. And if you can win those games, you're in the playoffs, maybe even going to the World Series, because that's the games that matter. But you're losing so much along the way.
Yeah.
As a competitor, as a person who you're always taught win, 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 do everything you can do to win, win, win.
Yeah.
And you go out there and your team, you have probably first or second place in your division. But you're losing so much. They mentally cannot handle it.
Well, remember, 3 out of 10 is you're batting 300. That means you sucked 7 times, but you got 3 hits.
And those are the highest paid baseball players.
You're a great baseball player
if you're batting 300. If you're hitting 30%.
Exactly.
30%.
Exactly.
You're a great baseball player.
That's true.
If you're shooting 30% in the NBA, where are you?
You're out of the league.
Exactly.
With all that being said, though, how many times with all of this emotion that we're talking about, how many times do you see gestures like what just happened? Outside of Kanye snatching a mic from Taylor Swift, I can't think of many right now.
People lose all the time. People come in second all the time.
That's how you know that gesture is
sport.
Extreme. You don't see it all. You don't see it often. You don't see something as considered so disrespectful because you take your L's the way you take them, but it's not so public and in your face and blatant.
Yeah.
And I thought Canadians were nice.
They are nice.
Hey.
But those are the more northern Canadians.
If you guys have if you guys want to talk to us about this, hit us up once again, 702-608-3259. If you call us off the show, go ahead and leave us a message, and we might play it back on Tuesday's show. But sticking to hockey real quick before we jump into the Black Panther movie review. Vegas Golden Knights won again.
My last minutes of blackness.
Oh, gosh. Vegas Golden Knights won again. Best record in hockey, and we're pretty much 3/4 done with the season. Did anybody think the Vegas Golden Knights would have the best record 3/4 of the season into the NHL 2018?
Nope.
Not at all.
No.
Nope.
But I'll tell you what I forget what goalie said it. But he basically said, and I know this might not mean anything to you guys, but he said that
Why?
Because you don't watch hockey.
I do watch hockey.
You don't watch hockey. He said facing the Golden Knights is basically facing a team of 4 twos.
Yeah, 4 twos.
What does that mean, Quad?
2 people.
No.
Four teams.
Exactly. All right, that's what I thought. So I was
Defenders.
I'll
Right.
give him should I give him the real version or should I
4
just
wings.
give it?
Yeah, that's what it is.
No. 4 twos means
4 thighs.
you have 4 lines. So
what
each
Tuesdays at
line is basically put on the ice for a different purpose.
Yeah, for 2.
You have your star line, so that's your 1.
Right.
Your 2 is your that's like
point
your
guard, shooting guard
second. That's your second. That's your second best
Playing
line.
4 shooting guards. Got
That's
it.
your second best line. Your 4th line usually is your grinders, and a lot of times you'll put them up against your 1 line because those are the guys that want to make things hard on the other team.
Right.
Okay.
They have a team of 4 twos, meaning they don't have any sorry lines. All their lines are very balanced, but they don't have any like when I first looked at their team, I was like, I don't know any of these guys.
Yeah.
But they had 4 lines of these were the second tier guys on their team.
Okay.
And so they put all those second tier guys together, and now their team is very deep.
They basically got a team full of 6 men.
Or a team full of third options.
Oh, okay.
But it's all third options.
Yeah.
So now they're playing together, and it's like yeah, he can score. I can
Yeah.
score. He can score. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like,
okay.
whereas
Okay,
other teams
okay.
is like for my Capitals is like, don't let Ovechkin get it. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Right, right.
you know what
Okay,
I'm
I
saying?
got you,
Whereas
yeah.
their team is like, well, if he gets it, he can score.
We don't
If
know,
he gets
yeah.
it, he can
Yeah.
score.
Okay.
If he gets it, he can score.
There's
so,
no-
But
We-
the players had to give into that cell too.
Sure.
To be able to play like this and not have someone step up and be like, yeah, I might be a 3, but I could be a 1 on this team.
yeah.
So they
Okay.
had to buy into that system, and they've done a great job. Very
have.
fast team, and hopefully it does, transfer into the playoffs, because the playoffs is going to be a whole different story,
It's a different beast.
different game. And I watched hockey.
We clearly knew what 4-2s were.
4-2 when you have,
Clearly.
but they got the best records. So shout out Vegas Golden Knights. It's made us talk about hockey, because we wouldn't be talking about hockey at all if it wasn't for the Vegas Golden Knights being out here.
But you selfish. You are so selfish. Oh my gosh. That's fine. You can turn it off. That's so selfish.
I was
That's-
getting a lot of info from that.
That's legit
Yeah.
horrible babasketball.
Yeah.
What
No,
happened?
okay.
What happened? I
I'll
didn't even
explain.
see what
I
happened.
know. I'll explain on Basketball IQ.
Okay, real
So-
quick to kind of no, I just want to set up the story.
Oh, okay.
Josh wasn't paying attention to what I was saying. He was watching ESPN
I
college
sure
basketball.
wasn't. I sure wasn't. That's fine. That's why I could hear you, but I could still watch.
We had to turn the TV off.
I don't
Go
know
ahead.
what you said though. You're still talking about that you didn't know hockey. I'm blacked out. No, basically,
I
it was
know
a
hockey
it was-
more than you know
it
about Wakanda.
Oh my goodness.
What is it? Viberon? What is it?
Pew,
What is it?
pew.
They ate something. They
Oh
they were
my gosh.
ingesting
Okay, we're done.
something.
We're
Anyway,
done talking
anyway,
about it. Yeah.
anyway.
We're done.
I'll watch it. I'll watch it.
It's
I'll
gonna be
watch it when
bad,
I watch
folks.
it.
It's gonna
I'll
be
watch
bad.
it when I watch
It's gonna be
it.
bad,
Lord.
folks.
Basically, in things that do matter, it was a half court trap. The guard went backside to the other guard. The big man was in the middle of the paint. No one there. The guard drove the paint. The people that were trapping in the half court trap come back over. He gets his shot batted out of bounds. All he had to do was pass it to the big man. He had a dunk.
Yeah.
Big man was butt naked underneath.
Oh, there was a Carolina game yesterday against Syracuse. The guard wanted to shoot the ball no matter what.
Yeah.
Yep.
Their center, number 13, wide open,
Wide
could have
open.
passed to him
Wide open.
for a dunk to I believe it would have tied the game.
Jeez. See?
Yeah.
That's stupid.
It's selfish.
That's
He thought he had the highlight dunk. That's what it was.
Yeah,
though. He
yeah,
thought he was
yeah.
going to bang on their big
Well.
man. And, I mean, that's a much more aggressive play, and that would have made ESPN. But
Nah.
instead of getting
Pass
that
that
score,
ball up.
want that win or that tie up,
Yeah.
that's
Pass
crazy.
that ball up, man.
And college basketball March Madness is happening soon.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we might be broadcasting live from downstairs at Eureka, so we're going to let you know about that soon. I think we might go talk to him tonight and try to set that up. But, just stay tuned for that, because we're going to do something for March Madness that Thursday. And that's going to be an early day for us, because I think the game started at 9, so we'll probably start like 11 again
Oh, okay.
Nice.
for that. So
Okay.
Lunch.
get those days. Yeah, exactly.
Nice. That's fine.
So we'll let you know. Hopefully we'll have some discounts and stuff like that down there. So we're going to talk to them about that today and let you know next week.
Cool.
Gosh, that is next week, huh? It's in like 2 weeks.
No, it's like 3 weeks
well,
away.
the conference
You got the
championship start
conference,
next
yeah.
week.
Yeah. No.
Jeez,
Yep.
they gave us the shortest month.
Oh, this is from the Lion King soundtrack.
This is the Lion King, Josh.
Oh, okay. I wouldn't have known, baby.
All right, we're going to talk about Black Panther right now. And has Josh seen Black Panther yet? Don't answer
It's okay.
yet.
It's all right.
Give me a 1 for yes if you think he's seen it. Give me a 2 for no on Facebook Live if you think he's seen it.
Hey, there was a lot of people that were actually chiming in. Like I was like, oh wow, I'm really got to. That's why I started stepping it up. I was like, you know what, I have to establish my blackness.
Right.
All right, so speaking on your blackness, I will speak on it.
You better not.
But I got 2 other people in here that can. If
Hey, look.
listen, if Josh has not seen it, are you guys willing to revoke his card? I can't say it. I'm putting it on your guys'
I
hands.
need to know his reasoning.
Fair
I need to
enough.
know his
Yeah,
reasoning.
Fair
If
enough.
he hasn't seen it, why he hasn't seen it.
Okay, Josh,
Yeah.
give us the answer. Have you seen Black Panther or have you not seen Black Panther? Yes or no?
Before I do that, no. I'm trying to get better at the teasers, Quan.
We'll answer that right after this message.
After this segment,
Sponsored by Body Armor.
Sponsored by Body Armor.
The answer to that question is no. I did, however.
Well, no.
Right. Wait a minute.
So
Not no, I did, however.
no.
I did, however, watch clips
Okay.
on YouTube. No.
No. I was actually what I was gonna say was that
I did finally watch Star Wars and Han Solo did die.
I did after because after Quan
too
started really
Star Wars.
getting on me in the group chat yesterday, I was like, all right, am I gonna bluff this? How are we gonna get through this?
Wikipedia.
And so
Right.
Wikipedia. So yes,
did
I
a
know
little
that
research.
I know that Killmonger dies in the end, and that he didn't want to he didn't
Hashtag spoiler alert. Sorry, anybody who hasn't seen
I don't
it.
care.
It's too late.
You're not gonna
If you haven't seen the
come
movie,
for my life and then say, "Oh, I haven't seen it either." So no, screw you. I'll tell you what happens in the end. He dies. He says he doesn't want to die because he said, "I'd rather die than be incarcerated." So okay, he decided to.
you kind of
paraphrase.
You kind of killed
That's right.
that.
Yeah.
That's fine.
You kind of
That's-
killed that.
I'm gonna come for everybody. You gonna come for me? Then I'm gonna come for you first.
You kind of destroyed
Preemptive
that
strike.
classic quote.
Yeah, classic quote.
Oh, there was a classic quote.
It's a
Oh,
classic movie quote that will be said forever
Well.
in Wakanda.
Well, I also learned that Wakanda, Illinois, they do not have the secret sauce. Stop calling them and saying
Ain't
Wakanda
no,
forever.
That's funny.
Ain't no vibranium in Illinois.
They have no vibranium, so stop asking the mayor of Wakanda, Illinois, whether they have that. So I did find that out. I did find that funny.
That's funny.
But yes, to my reasoning.
Oh gosh.
My reasoning, honestly.
Is this going to be a good reason?
Oh well, no. I mean, it's a reason. It's not a. It's mine. I don't care. You can
Okay.
Take it for whatever
Alright.
it is. My reason, honestly, the
Selfish.
only reason that I didn't see it the night it came out was because I was in LA. I went to LA for All-Star Weekend,
Okay.
and
It's night one.
and I was there.
No,
I was there.
we're going night by night because it's been out 7 days.
Oh my gosh!
So we're going night by night. So
Oh
Thursday.
my gosh.
So Thursday night you drove to LA.
So Thursday night I was in LA.
drove to LA,
I
alright.
went to a party.
Okay, you
Okay.
went to a party.
Friday night. I was at the rookie game.
Rookie game. Okay.
And I went to a
You
party.
dapped up Ben Simmons.
I
Okay.
did. No, that was actually on Thursday.
Okay.
That was
Okay.
Ben Simmons
At
in,
the party.
in TO. Yeah.
Okay.
And then Saturday, I watched the dunk contest, and then my brother and I we drove back at 11. So we were
Back to Vegas.
Yeah, back to
In
Vegas
time to watch
on Sunday,
Black Panther on Sunday.
possibly.
Okay.
But I worked because
You had to make money.
I had not worked since maybe Monday of last week
Okay.
because I had my party on Wednesday. Shout out to those of you that came.
I came in spirit.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Get real
I didn't
quiet
get
in here, huh?
I didn't
oh,
get
yeah,
an invite.
We can make this thing real uncomfortable.
I didn't get an invite.
I don't know about that, Kels.
All right, all right.
I'll let you ride right now.
All right, cool.
Even though I had
was taking a nap because
billboards around the city.
I had opening night.
I'll let it ride.
I had opening night of
Yeah.
Black Panther the
Oh
next
sure,
night, so.
sure, yeah. We can make this thing real uncomfortable. If we want to.
Hey, I bought you lunch. I bought you a bison burger.
You did give me a bison burger. Fair enough. All right, you're off the hook.
What about Steve?
And then yeah. Steve works.
Yeah.
But he did say he was coming with his wife.
I don't have a job.
Well, I did have
Never
to
mind.
work
I'll
that
wear
night.
it. I'll wear it. Anyway.
And then my
Yeah,
wife.
no, I'm
blaming
continuing
my
to
wife,
defend
you
my
know,
honor,
but-
so it's fine.
Go
I'm
ahead.
going
Go
to
ahead,
continue.
Josh. Go ahead, Josh.
So Monday, Monday I have no excuses for this week.
Wow.
Outside of just the girlfriend.
And Monday was
she-
$5 at the pumps.
wait, he's throwing his girl under the
Oh
bus.
no,
He's
she
blaming
will.
her.
She
Oh, nice.
for sure. I have no
Okay.
problems with that. Yeah.
So she wouldn't go see it with you.
Well, no, she's been working, and so if I go by myself, because I do go by myself to certain movies,
Yeah.
but there's also movies where I miss them because she'll just have a moment where she doesn't feel like going to movies. So then weeks will go by, and it's like, man, I
The
still
movie's
haven't seen
about to
that
be
movie.
out on.
I still haven't seen that movie.
It's going to be on Netflix in 2 weeks. So why spend money?
don't worry. I
Yeah.
will either watch it at home or I will watch it in the theater this week. So
He said
Yeah.
at home. Oh, you don't do the Amazon.
I know. I really don't
do
want
the
to.
Fire
I really
stick.
don't
Bruh.
want to. But
Bruh.
if it, you know what I
Oh
mean?
my gosh.
So
Go
but
watch it
that
in the
is,
theater.
and then also on top of that, I'm watching like everyone on Facebook like turn it into this whole like movement, and it just look. Honestly, for me, look, it's a movie. For me personally, if a movie does that much to impact and change your life, God bless you. But for me personally, I'll walk out and be like, that was a good movie.
Yeah, of course.
Back to Tuesday, like it's not.
What,
I mean,
what
it's
about
not,
the impact it has on the culture? Because it's Hollywood has been known to
Here
not.
we go.
Yeah, Hollywood's been known
As it
forever
begins.
to not put black directors, all black cast in a movie like this. It might be a movie about slavery, might be a movie about other things like that. This is finally like we've. I'm a white dude, so I had white superheroes my whole life. I didn't think anything of it. You know what I'm saying? I didn't care anything of it. As a black man, I don't know how you guys felt having to play with the white figures. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
like when you're playing with action figures, like you can only buy like so many Lando Calrissians.
It's an unsung song. I
Sing it,
had a
Steve.
woman. I had a woman at my church, and she had these dolls, and she had one doll that was black, and all the other dolls were little white dolls. And she pulled me to the side, and I could see it in her face. She was like terrified. She didn't know what to say. She didn't know how to say it. And she was like, I have to ask you, like, I have one doll that's black. Like, I don't want to be offensive. Can I give it to your daughter? And for me, I'm like, yeah, no problem, you know? And then I had to talk to her about that and let her know, I understand your fear about talking to me about that. Like, I get it.
Discomfort.
But
You're a big dude,
the
Steve.
Discomfort, you know what I mean? But,
She thought there was a chance my skull can get crushed asking you this question.
Hulk smash.
but there was that thing of not being offensive. But I know for me, you know, as a person, I was drawn to characters that look like me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when Luke Cage came out, I was excited.
Yeah.
And other people were like, who is Luke Cage? I've never heard of Luke Cage. He's one of my favorites. I love Luke Cage. Like,
And he's been around for a long time, and a lot of people do think he just is a new character from
just
2
popped
years ago.
up.
when
That's
they
the
said
problem.
that Black Panther would appear in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, like when there was like, you know, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and they were like, oh, Black Panther. So that little poster came out way before he was in any of the other movies.
Like 3 years
So
ago.
when I saw that, like, I flipped. I was like, please do this right. Man, I hope they do it right. Like, so far they've done all these movies right. I hope they do Black Panther right. You know, like for me, it's exciting because I grew up and I have to imagine I'm the Black Hawk. I'm not the Hawk. I couldn't be the Incredible Hulk. I'm the Black Incredible Hulk.
Well,
I mean, he's
Incredible Hulk
green.
was
I'm not
green.
this.
But
But
he's green.
this is
he was
what
a
I'm
white
saying.
dude that turned green.
There's a red
When he-
Hulk. There's a gray
I'm not-
Hulk.
the
You could
thing
be- you
is,
could be the
you
Black
know,
Hulk.
I'm so
when you-
sorry. That I don't mean to.
No, but-
I'm just an idiot. I apologize.
I know
for
what
my
you-
ignorance.
Don't be racist towards
But it's
the
like
Greens.
it's still like with Superman or any
Yeah.
other person. If a
Right.
black person plays it, it's not that
It's not.
character.
I'm
you
not
see?
Superman now.
Right. So
you
even,
black Superman.
Even in the Marvel universe, when Nick Fury is a black man,
black
people
man.
remember in these comics the white Nick Fury. Now, recently, Marvel did change that. Before the movie came out, Nick Fury was a black person. So in the movie, they brought in the black Nick Fury, Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah.
Even that kind of got a lot of critics talking and saying, oh, Nick Fury is supposed to be white and yada, yada, and whatever, right? And so every time a black person shows up, it's like, why are you guys invading our space?
Yeah.
There was a big thing about a black person being in Star Wars. It's like,
Yeah,
dude, like
yeah,
George
yeah.
Lucas' wife is black. Like, what is wrong? You know what I mean?
Oh,
so,
I didn't know that.
so
Darth Vader's black.
you know what I mean? So,
After all that, it was like
so
the most feared man was a black man.
right.
Well,
so
just saying.
you have all these
In the
things
cape he
where
was.
It's American society.
where no matter how far you go in the universe, no matter how fictional it is, no matter what, when black people show up,
Yeah.
there's controversy. And it's like, hey, we just want to have comics just like you got comics.
Or we're
right?
okay when they show up in Django.
Right. Or we're okay
In
with them
that light.
being the sidekick.
Yeah.
You see? So
To be the guy.
to be the guy.
It turns
and
into
then to
something.
Or
have,
the first one to die in the horror movie.
and then to have the entire cast,
We
the
did have
crew,
that for a
the
long
director, everybody in this movie being a black person and not just throwing this, you know, to the wolves, so to speak, and letting them do what they wanted, but to make sure everything was done right.
Yeah.
Like none of these like there was no point in this movie where I questioned anyone's acting ability.
Yeah.
There was no point in the movie where something took me out of it because I was like, that doesn't make sense or that's
Yeah.
not right. You know what I mean? So the movie was done correctly. It was done right. Blockbuster movie. In that aspect for Hollywood, this is a first. This has never been done. And in the argument we had it in the group, I said, like, you know, look, this will never be some of the things that like Sidney Poitier had to go through, or Sammy Davis Jr.
Yeah.
or Hattie McDaniel, you know, getting the first Academy Award but couldn't even go to the show because she was black.
Because she was
This
black.
this is not that. But this is a different thing in the step of now you can no longer say that a black cast in all its entirety doesn't draw a big fan.
Yeah.
There's now no excuse
But-
to not have a black person be in the movie.
But
You see?
as we talked about before the show, that has already been killed. This is the first time that maybe soup to nuts it was all black people. But we've had plenty of opportunities to show that our dollar is still green.
But with this, a superhero, being able to celebrate, being able to bring in culture into a movie.
Into the
But
movie.
that's not new. And this is what I'm sorry. Let me.
It's new in this.
Do you guys know
in
when
this
Black
type
Panther
of
was
scene.
created? Black Panther was created in 1969.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
By Jack Kirby and Stan Lee.
Right.
Two white dudes.
Yeah.
This origin story, everything that we received in a cinematic experience, nothing was altered.
Yeah.
Nothing
Right.
was changed.
Yep.
Right.
Wakanda, everything that we see
Has existed since the 60s.
All of this has been there since the 60s.
Okay.
So who is creating the cultural diversity? Is it the people who created the character, or is it the people who feel segregated? Now, I'm not saying by any means that we shouldn't be proud of what Black Panther has become today. I'm not saying that by any means. But what I'm saying is that if you were truly, truly proud, then you would have known about Black Panther since the 60s or since your existence
yeah.
when you decided to care about if there was a black superhero.
Thank you.
At the end of the day, T'Challa has been the king of Wakanda for longer than most of us have been alive. And at the end of the day,
But how
his,
long-
his supporting cast has
Yeah.
been all supporting black cast.
How long has superhero movies been out?
Superhero movies?
How long have they been out like this?
What are you talking about?
Shoot, since the 60s.
What he's talking
but my
about
thing is the black
big
superhero.
blockbuster,
You
yeah.
might say that the black superhero has been around that long. He just now got put on the big screen.
No.
So that
Okay, but
Blade saved white people.
So here's my argument with Blade. How
Spawn was a
many
bad movie.
How many black people were in the Blade movie? Blade #1. How
A
many
lot.
black people were in that
It
movie?
was based in New York.
like maybe 3.
Main characters with
Do
speaking
black people?
roles.
characters, main
Do you guys
characters
claim
with
Wesley
main
Snipes?
characters with speaking roles.
Do you guys claim Wesley Snipes though?
I do.
Okay.
Stop
I
it.
still do. You know.
I'm just wondering.
He don't pay his-
Jungle
he don't pay
Fever
his
hit a little
taxes. That's
too
as black as you
so
get.
Jungle Fever hit a little too home.
He don't
for
pay his
him.
taxes. That's as black as you get. No, I'm just
So
kidding.
here's
Amen.
my thing.
Amen.
Here's the difference in the black person having a role in a movie. It's we'll give the black man a job, but Blade's sidekick, a white guy. The villain, a white guy. All the villain sidekicks, white guys.
his love interest
Basically,
was black.
everybody except Blade and his girlfriend, and the dude he bought his serum from, and some random dude he talked to in the hallway. Everybody else was white or not black, basically.
Yeah.
So you still have this movie where there are 4 black people. The main guy is black, but it's being sold to producers. It's being sold to production companies and everything else because it has Steven Dorff. It has this guy. It has that guy. It has that. And and it's Wesley
But is that
Snipes.
not realistic? Like if you walked into
Yeah.
New York right
If-
now,
that
you
is
are
that
gonna
is
have
what
a
we're
black
looking at.
guy, but he's gonna be surrounded by white people. And with the time frame that Blade was created, that was realistic for the environment. That fit the setting. Now this all black cast fits the setting
Because
it
they're in
was
Africa.
It was in Africa.
I
So
agree.
with the all black cast and the setting, it makes sense. Nobody's complaining about the fact that when Black Panther was in America, only black people that were in the movie was him and the 2 girls that came from Africa
that
with
came
him.
with him.
Nobody said anything about that. But yet, when they're in America, everybody's white. But then when they go back to Africa, everybody's black.
Yeah.
What are
So
we?
Except the hero of the story.
See, this is what but this is what I'm saying. This is what opens up a setting because it's not just Blade. It's other movies. It's movies that until within probably the past 5 to 10 years, they wouldn't even put on the table to even make.
12 Years a Slave.
You see what I'm saying? Like so we can get a slave movie any day.
Sure.
You see what I'm saying? Because we could throw Brad Pitt in a supporting role and the movie's gonna sell because he's in it.
Yep.
You feel what I'm saying? So we can get slave movies. We got plenty of them. We can be thugs and killers all day. But when you really want to talk about not just how many movies, and not even including Tyler Perry's movies because his movies probably outnumber all of them.
Oh gosh.
But how many movies are we going to have where there's not just a positive leader, a positive role model, a positive person who kids can watch and be like, you know what? I want to be Superman. I want to be Black Panther. You know what I mean? And be like that are good, clean family movies
But as
with
a culture,
other characters in it.
as a culture, we should have been teaching them that growing up. Period. Why do we have to wait till it hits the big screen to be like, yo, now you have somebody to
look for
realize?
this.
Look
But
at
at
look
the
at it
same
this
time,
way.
we still learn a lot. Is every culture from movies?
Yeah, absolutely.
We learn a lot from movies. We gravitate towards movies and movie stars and athletes and stuff like this. So that's every culture
But
that we
personally,
gravitate
I feel like that.
towards stuff like that.
I think what Kels is trying to say though too is it starts here first.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
And,
Definitely.
and
I believe
like,
half
whenever-
of these people hyping this cultural behind this Black Panther
that's the whole
aren't
stay
culturally
woke,
sound.
or that's
I
the
honestly
whole
believe
I'm
that.
woke
Okay,
and
I
I'm
feel
all
that.
this.
Yeah,
So,
like
and
I
so that's
feel
the
the
reason
people
why
who
I get a
have
problem
pride
with it.
behind this movie. That's cool. But what are we representing big picture here?
Yeah.
And now big picture,
Okay.
this is what I see, because if you really pay attention to the movie preaches equality more than the people who are watching it and supporting it. You know what I mean? At the end of the day,
Right.
the whole point is Wakanda can't be separated. Yet here we are as a Black culture separating Wakanda.
And separating ourselves.
We're separating
Yeah.
ourselves. Like, we're this great higher race, and that's fine. Be proud of your race. That's
Yeah.
perfectly fine. But the movie itself, the whole entire point and plot twist is that T'Challa has to understand and learn that they cannot separate themselves from the rest of the world.
Yeah.
They have
Right.
to integrate themselves into the world
Okay.
and be
Yeah.
a part of everything else. So why are we sitting here like Wakanda, in Wakanda? Have you seen those in Wakanda hashtags? in Wakanda, you don't need to ask where the shea butter is. Like, come on, bro. Like, we're separating ourselves from a culture, and this movie is literally trying to teach us the opposite.
Yeah.
It's literally telling us that, hey, we have everything that we need to be proud about.
Yeah.
We have our history and heritage. We have all these things that we know we're great for, but that doesn't mean that we separate ourselves. We fit into and integrate into the rest of the world, and that's what the movie's about.
And so here's the thing, and I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah,
and I
great,
think
great
I think,
points all around.
Yeah,
to be
and
honest.
I think this is the point of where the argument goes crazy, is that we're Black, we get loud, we're yelling at each other,
Yeah.
but for the most part, we are agreeing with each
Yeah,
other.
yeah,
We're just hitting different points and different angles.
Yeah.
And here is a huge thing, and I've told plenty of other people this. There's a cartoon character, Doc McStuffins. She's a little Black girl. She's a doctor. Her mother's a doctor, a real doctor. She's a little girl. In her imagination, she fixes all of her little toys that get broken,
Mhm.
right? So her little sister like breaks toys and brings them to her, and she fixes
Just like
them.
a new character.
Right. It's been out for a few years now,
Okay.
but
I've never heard of it.
yeah, of course, they little kids, man. Like, but-
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
it's
it's little
a kid
kids.
show.
It's kid
Okay,
show.
I
Yeah,
was-
yeah.
I was
Yeah,
trying-
I didn't know
I was
that.
trying
Okay.
to check myself.
Yeah,
like,
my bad. Like, yeah, y'all don't know
Should
stuff.
I
Water
know
around
that?
no
Like,
and
I
stuff.
didn't know.
Which this is my point. My
it.
daughter, my oldest daughter, has been watching it since she was 2 or 3 years old.
Okay.
She is growing up because our culture has changed a lot. And like, my daughter's 7 now. She's been watching this show for over 5 years now. Both of my daughters watch it. My 3-year-old watches it too. They got toys all over the house of Doc McStuffins. Doc McStuffins is a little Black girl.
Nice.
Her mother's Black. This is a Black cartoon character. This little Black girl is a doctor.
And her mother's a
She's
doctor.
not just, and her mother's a doctor. They're not just some, crazy family that's struggling, that got problems or whatever.
Like a
this is
Huxtable.
this is a positive, right? This is a positive role model, in essence, in a cartoon character for my daughter to want to idolize and be like. She had a birthday party where she was dressed up like Doc McStuffins. We all put on little white coats like doctors and walked around and did doctor stuff with all the kids, and for my daughter to see somebody on TV that looks like her. She doesn't have to imagine if a Black person
Yeah,
can do that
exactly.
too. You see,
It's not a fantasy.
It changes things. It's no
It's
longer
reality,
a fantasy. It's something that she can identify with. I don't think that every single movie that comes out needs powerful Black people in the movie. Movies still have to be real. You see, or
be fantasy.
right? Or be fantasy, or an extent to it, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is,
Well, you have Kings of Egypt with all white
with
cast.
all white
Yes,
people. You have
right.
Lord of the Rings, not one Black person in sight. You have, what is this, Game of Thrones, not 2 Black people in, and what are their roles in that, in that whole series?
But some of these
So-
are fantasy movies. But like
But these
Kings of
are-
Egypt and other like
Again,
historical
wait,
things.
But
Wait,
but
but
this is my point.
In
Even
fantasy-
in the fantasy, why are there no
Yeah,
Black
exactly.
people
No,
represented
no.
in fantasy?
No, the funny part of
So-
that is y'all's fantasy is to is to write us out.
Right. So see, so this is my point. So for myself, growing up, watching certain things, I always had to kind of project myself as, what would this be like if these were Black people? Or what would this be like if this was
Yeah.
somebody who looked like me?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like, when people talked about Game of Thrones, I never really got into it because I was like, there's no character I can really identify with. You see what I'm saying? Like, because
100%
I think
feel you.
if Captain
Yeah.
America is Black, even with him becoming a super soldier and everything else, his experience, that route is completely different.
Sure.
How do I identify
Definitely.
as a Black man with somebody like Captain America to become a huge fan of a Captain America?
Yeah.
You see, but as a white person, you can say his dad's kind of like my dad or my uncle or my cousin, right? Or the neighborhood he grew up in is kind of like my neighborhood. As a Black man, my neighborhood didn't look like a lot of these guys.
I guess
you
that's
see
why
what
I
I'm
was
saying?
more of an X-Men guy. They were
And
green
so,
and
yeah,
weird colors.
but-
Yeah. I
But this
think
is
that-
where-
at
go
the
ahead,
same
go
time,
ahead.
I hear you, and that makes sense. And what I don't understand though is that when it happens, we don't react the same way we're reacting right now. because it happens, and
Well,
it's
when
been
what-
happening.
When what happens?
When a black person is integrated into the roles that we idolize. So, for example, I hate the movie. Fantastic Four was trash, but when Johnny Storm became black, there was no rallying of the community like this.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And on top of that,
he
Nick
was
Fury.
just in, he
But
was
but
just
there's
in this
there's a
movie.
difference
Yeah.
with that because he wasn't black in the comics. Let's make them happy by making this dude black
Okay.
instead of having like Black Panther is a black superhero.
Okay.
And beyond that, it's not even just the character of Black Panther. It's the cast. It's the crew.
Okay, so
Ryan
let me ask
Coogler,
this.
who did the movie.
Let me ask this
like with Steve saying some of these movies, the fantasy movies, there's no black people in.
What
them.
made Black Panther less black in
but
Civil
listen,
War?
But listen, who's making? Listen,
what do
yo,
you mean?
who's making the fantasy movie? Who's making Lord of the Rings? It's some white people.
Yeah, but it's
So-
also the time and the setting.
But Hollywood's letting all the white people make these movies. So this one, you're letting a black cast and black producers make this movie. So they're getting the opportunity behind the scenes too now.
So here's the
which
difference
hasn't been something that Hollywood has
And
let go of.
and
so
I
here's
get
the
that.
difference in what he's saying, and you're talking about like the time and setting, right? So using the example I used earlier with Blade, you're right. Blade makes sense in New York. There's black people, white people, so on and so forth.
Everybody, there's
and that
everybody.
right. So there's everybody, which that movie would have everybody, right? But a world like Lord of the Rings, there's no reason for it basically to be all white people.
Yeah,
There's no reason that
it can be
That's not
whatever.
true
there's
at all.
no
it can be
reason.
whatever you
There's
want.
no reason for a person of color or the person to have some pigment in their skin to show up. So, but listen, because that is created by basically white people, right? Now you have a movie like Black Panther being created. In the future, we now can have a Lord of the Rings type of movie where that opens up things for the culture of black people to be integrated into movies like this, where there may be just a race of people who happen to be a little bit darker, and they're actually black people with jobs instead of white people with face paint.
I don't think black people want to be in a movie like Lord of the Rings, though.
But that's what I'm saying too. To your point though,
Not
you're
really
talking
about
about
that.
in the
Dragons.
future what's capable. What you're talking about in the future what's capable. But Lord of the Rings, as much as we're like it's a fantasy world, it's still set at a mythological point in time. It's still hundreds of thousands of years ago. It's not present day. That's
Yeah.
why they're using spears and swords and riding horsebacks where you wouldn't have seen any black people. Realistically, the time frame you wouldn't have seen any black people.
They're in
because their
England.
roles-
But if it's-
no,
but
their
if it's-
roles
I was gonna say they're in
their
Scandinavia.
their
Yeah.
roles are being slaves somewhere else or something like
Yeah.
that. So the time frame and the setting makes everything different. My point to that is that what makes Black Panther any less black in Civil War? When he came out in the last movie, but he wasn't on the continent of Africa, and he was just a black guy. His supporting cast was black as well, and he was the king of Wakanda.
Or,
Why
well,
did
he
we
was the
rally
prince.
behind him then?
He was the
Oh,
prince.
he
He
was
was
the
the
prince.
prince then. That
Let
was
me-
his
let me
dad.
take-
because
let me tell y'all
it's more
something.
than just the character of Black Panther that people are celebrating. They're celebrating
Right.
everything.
So
The
Black Panther.
people behind the scenes making the movie.
Okay, so when Black
The
Panther
whole
leaves
cast,
Wakanda,
it's a whole
and
cast
he ends
of
up
black
in the
people.
Avengers, and it's no longer a whole cast of black people, are we gonna be like, oh man, we took a step backwards?
No,
The
it's-
movie
it's-
only
it's
makes
back.
sense
No, no, no,
because
no,
he
no.
was in Africa.
No, listen. When we talk
I
about
understand
the whole
I know what
cast,
you're saying.
it's not just the people on screen. I'm talking about the director, the director's assistant, the producer, the lighting guy, the guy working in the back, the graphic designer, the people who picked
I
out
doubt
the
all of them were
wardrobe.
black.
Trust me, I read about
No,
it.
no,
Not
they
did-
did. They were like
listen,
saying down to the
not
grips. They were saying down to the
not
grips.
every single person who worked on this movie was black,
Right.
but it was literally like
8 out of 10,
97,
yeah, it was like-
98%
yeah, it was
of
high.
the people on staff for the entire production of this movie
Yeah.
were people of color.
And shout out to Marvel Studios for letting that be a thing. I get it. Like that's awesome.
That's
big.
what's being celebrated.
Yeah,
it's
but-
not just
My point
Wakanda,
is though.
you know
my
what I mean?
point is that though this same exact story has been created by white people, and we never celebrated it. It's because it's black.
Yeah.
We're creating the cultural diversity. We're creating the
understand what
segregation
you're saying.
in this. You know what I'm saying? Like nothing about Black
what
Panther
he's
has
saying-
changed since
and-
'69.
Exactly. And
This
what-
movie was great
ba-
because it was ideal to the comic book.
basically
Down to the
basically-
villain. The
what-
comic book was literally expressed in every aspect of this movie, which means the two white people that created this, Stan Lee and Jack Kirby,
They created the movie,
They did.
pretty
They
much,
created the movie,
Right.
and they did great
Did
job on their
Did
research.
Stan Lee make, did
They
Stan
did
Lee
great
make
work.
a appearance?
Yes,
I
he
know
did.
he's sick. He's still okay.
Yeah, he
still
probably-
made
he
an
Yeah,
probably
you didn't
appearance.
see it. It was near the beginning.
I said you know that. I'm so dumb.
But
we're living-
But that's what
So
I'm saying.
dumb.
Like as
Yeah.
black people, we're creating that the diversity in the situation, and it's like finally.
If
Da,
you-
da,
no,
da,
look,
this,
I
that,
think
but
here's
it's
the
not
thing.
Finally,
Look. The biggest
Go ahead.
thing that he's saying.
Dave,
is,
call in.
The biggest thing that Kels is saying is that we pick and choose times to be woke, or pick and choose times
I
as
can
a
agree with that.
culture to
Yeah.
beat our chest and say this is great for black people, but like
And
okay,
sometimes everyone's
I'll-
following the trend.
I'll say
Most
this.
of the
I'll
time
say
they're
this. The
following the
saddest, one of the saddest moments. Not even sad. It's just very different. When I went to Africa, and I actually was able to meet.
Did you go
other,
to Wakanda?
right after you left
I'm
Hogwarts.
trying to have a moment. When I went to Africa,
Right.
and I actually interacted with Africans that had been there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And you talk to them, and you actually interact with them, and you see that that's our culture. Like
Right.
they're beating on drums and
Yeah.
everything, and we just start. And it's like you don't
Yeah,
even know
yeah,
where that's
feel
coming
it. It's
from.
natural.
And you're like,
Right.
I don't know what that is, but it's in you deep, and you don't
Right.
even understand it.
Right.
The reason that we have so many issues in this country are because we are so detached from that.
Yeah.
Right.
And the reason that I have issues with the whole stay woke and all that kind of stuff is because people pick and choose times to be black. We
Yeah.
pick and choose times where we want to support each other. We pick and choose times that we want to make that important versus making that important. We want to start talking about people killing each other in Chicago. This room will get real quiet,
Yeah.
Right.
and people don't have no. We don't.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do.
Right.
We don't know what to do. Do you
And-
understand what I'm saying? So
yeah.
like when so when people start saying, "Oh, well, you didn't go see this movie," or that makes you, screw all that, because in the end, it's a movie.
Yeah, I
Well,
think that's what I want. I think what I want big picture is, and like I said, like I'm not saying that there's nothing to be proud about. I'm not
Sure.
saying that the movie wasn't phenomenal because of the culture behind it, but I'm saying this is a culture that already existed, and we're choosing to jump on the bandwagon now versus us doing our research and celebrating heroes like
He was
Black
already there.
Panther from 1969.
He was already there.
But I guess what I ultimately want is that like if we gonna be woke, like be woke, all, the time. Be woke all the
Yeah.
time. You know what I mean? I literally was in the movie with a dude who was wearing a dashiki, but
Yeah.
the same dashiki that he was wearing, you didn't hand make that and put those rhinestones on them yourself.
Yeah.
You ordered that offline from the same site that sells joggers with patches on
And
it.
send it
You know
back
what
the
I'm
day
saying?
after the
Like,
movie.
Exactly.
and
Right.
send it- you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like you,
And
like
so,
that's,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
not
yeah.
even that's not even really
So
a
there's a-
dashiki, but nobody's gonna call you out on that. They're saying,
Because
oh,
we
he's
don't,
culture.
because we don't even know
Like,
what a real
come on,
dashiki
man.
looks like or what
Yeah.
makes one.
Well,
Come
see,
on,
here's
you know what I'm saying?
and here's the thing too. Like when you have a movie like this, you're going to have a lot of hype.
Yeah.
And in that hype level is going to be a lot of things that really just don't exist.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just fake fluff, basically. It's like
Fake news.
It's extra icing on a cake with already enough icing on it, right? You know what I
Right.
mean? It's, just, it's a bunch of things, and those things bring some people back to where they're like, they don't just go, instead of going, oh, the movie wasn't all that. They're just like, what they're trying to say is the movie wasn't as hyped up as it is, as you guys are hyping it up to be. And they go into, oh, that movie was whack, it sucked, and da-da-da. And it's like, no,
Right.
it didn't. That was a great movie.
Well,
It was a
listen,
great movie.
if
But-
Black Panther wasn't a good movie, it would not have the same impact.
exactly.
People would have went opening night.
So-
It wouldn't have the same impact if it wasn't a good movie.
I think the hype around it made it a better. So I'm
It was a great movie.
It was a great movie.
It was a great movie.
Like I said, and it was very true to the comic books. It's definitely probably in my top 5. But I thought Ragnarok was better. And then I'm getting backlash for that. I'm getting heat for that. You know,
See, and
for
I
me,
didn't even-
for
I
me
didn't
thinking,
even-
for
I
me
didn't even
thinking,
wanna go
and
see
that's
that
dumb
one.
when people get heat off their opinion. And we mess with Josh, but the fact he hasn't seen it, who cares?
Right.
He has a
Yeah.
right to see the movie or not. He doesn't
Right.
have to be
Yeah.
pressured
into seeing
And see, here's my-
because he's black.
But
And
the
if
reason
you're not,
but
Dave's
the
going to
reason
take your
you
black
think the
card.
reason I'm getting backlash is because my opinion? No, the reason I'm
Yeah.
getting backlash
Exactly.
is because my opinion and I'm black.
Yeah.
Since I'm black, I'm supposed to think
I'm not.
Black Panther
I'm,
was the best
I'm not
movie.
allowed to like something else.
You know what I'm saying? Oh,
Right.
Thor, their whole cast was white, so how could that be
And
better?
someone
Yeah.
brought
No,
up the
like, it
point.
was-
Someone brought up the
crazy.
point with Wonder Woman. There was the same hype with that. Like when she was in Superman versus Batman, it wasn't the same. Like, oh my gosh, a woman's in here
Yeah.
until she
Yeah.
got her own movie,
Right.
And that kind of
Yeah.
broke barriers too. With a lot of women working on that movie and a woman being the superhero star.
Right.
That's a huge that's
And I love seeing both of that because we're in a day and age where we're seeing a lot more diversity right now,
Yes.
which needs to be done.
I think
And
it's
it needs to
gonna
become
come
a
in
regular
time.
thing.
And
It's
see,
coming with time. though.
and that for me is the biggest thing about this movie that I'm excited about. Like all of my points kind of spawn from
Spawn.
and spawn,
Spawn
right?
from Spawn.
right. All of my thoughts kind of spawn from this point of, look, black people, women in general, have been basically everything except white men have been very underrepresented in movies, so to speak, where there's only a handful of black actors who get really good roles all the time. You can see plenty of movies where, there's no thought of the culture. I remember watching the movie 10,000 BC. There's only 2 white people in this movie, the lead man and the girlfriend he's trying to save. And I think the lead villain maybe. Everybody else is kind of like Hispanic, from just some other country, some other ethnicity or whatever. But even the tribe they're from is like all natives or people who at least look like they're natives. They could be Hispanic, somewhere from North America, Central America. And then you have these 2 people who are white, and it's like, wait a minute, how did these 2 white people end up in this tribe? But they sell that all the time in Hollywood. There are plenty of movies where the lead guy is written and everything, and it should be a black person, but it's a white person playing that role. Yeah. And so these things happen so much that as black people, we watch these movies and we just kind of shrug it off like, it's a movie, whatever, And so to now get to a point where this was my excitement is that it's not just a black director. It's not just a lead black actor. Like in the movie, his guards, black women, right? And all these things are true to the comic book. But on the big screen, to see a bunch of black women being black women, her making the little things in the movie, like she wears the wig and she hates that she has this wig on. As soon as she gets into a fight, takes it off, hits somebody with it. Like, I mean, it's such an ode to a black woman just being black. You know what I mean? And it's
that's
so
what
many...
I mean by stay woke all the time, though. Because I noticed that and I was like, hey, that's dope. Like, I respected that, right?
Yeah. Right.
But then, like, you can't sit here and tell me that all the people that rally behind that and like, Team Natural, they're still wearing full makeup. They're still, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, they're still dressed in culturally fashionable things to now's time frame. There's still things that aren't so natural about it.
But
you know what I'm saying?
Do you see what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying.
But
Like, I get that, and that's
exactly what I'm saying.
And that's what I'm saying.
But be woke all the time.
So this is my thing. Like, I understand what y'all are saying about those people, right?
They still are people.
Everybody, listen, they are our people. They are our people.
That's the hardest part.
And everybody ain't gonna wake up. Everybody ain't gonna get woke. Some people who think they woke don't realize how drowsy they still are. Right, you see what I'm saying? Forget that.
Woke is overrated.
What I'm excited about is the fact that at this point in time, in 2018, we finally have a movie where, kind of like every other movie where nobody really thinks about it, everybody on staff will be white. Everybody. And nobody would bat an eye or think about it. And in this movie, they made a point to put everybody on staff, or as many people as possible, to be a person of color. Similar to how they did Ghostbusters, the new Ghostbusters, where almost it was like 80 or 90% of the staff was women. They are making a point, whether the movie is successful or not.
Ghostbusters was horrible.
And it didn't do so well.
That's why he made sure to say that.
And it didn't do so well at the box office. But the point is, somebody opened their eyes.
That didn't do well
somewhere.
You can't make a remake of Ghostbusters and then
you can't
put
force
women there.
something.
That's just like, come on.
Ghostbusters was too classic.
But this is what I'm saying.
Leave it alone.
At some point somewhere, somebody who at this point in 2018 finally in a studio somewhere read this idea of having all these black folks on staff making a movie and said, you know what, I'm gonna write a check for that and we gonna make it happen.
And
20 years ago, it ain't happening.
There's a possibility 20 years ago they could have made Black Panther and Brad Pitt would have been the star.
Exactly.
Yeah, but
that's my point.
And I get that.
So
and
that's what I'm.
I get that.
Come on, that's just
out
tragic.
Of anybody that and out of everybody that I've had conversation with, like out of everybody that I've spoken to, you relate at a personal level. You know what I mean? And it's like, yo, I'm happy to see somebody on the big screen that I can relate to as culturally. I get that. And like I said, I was never trying to take that away from anybody. But at the same time, at the very, very same time, I think we downplay how much setting takes and how much it takes into account, because at the end of the day, after this movie, after Black Panther, right, when Avengers Infinity War comes out and Black Panther makes his role, he's gonna go right back to what he was, which was a supporting cast, black member,
a person that was of color in the middle of a situation with a lot of other white people.
And until another movie comes where the setting is revolved around that situation, we're not gonna see it again. But culturally, everybody's dealing with the same thing, but times are changing, and as times are changing, we're able to dive into these places and be like, okay, this is different. Let's do this. This is different. We can do a supporting cast. They're making live action anime movies now. All the cast members are white. Anybody in Japan is pissed about it. They're literally like, what the heck? Like, anime is made from Japan. So why aren't Japanese people playing these characters? But we're getting to a point where now it's going to be okay to involve a whole Japanese cast as long as they can speak English and act. And that's what we need to look at. A lot of people There's a handful of black actors that can play some of these roles we're talking about because they're really great actors. There's a handful. You can literally name them at least with two hands.
But here's the thing: in Hollywood, a white actor will get a shot, and he can make a mistake. He can have a movie that flops and not does so well, and he might get another shot. For the black actor coming up, it's all or nothing. If this don't work, bye. You see, so the
Both
black
teams played hard.
so when you
Chad,
look at
Chad Boswick was successful before Black Panther.
So there was success, but that's my point. He hasn't had many failures before Black Panther.
Sure,
But,
yeah.
but
Neither
now
has
you're-
Michael.
But now
B.
you're saying he hasn't had many. So
neither
but
has
you said-
Michael B.
but you
Jordan.
said
You know
if
what I'm
they-
saying?
But you said if they
Look
had
at-
one, they don't. I kind of
No,
disagree with your point right now.
So there are some.
Well, no. I understand what he's saying. Like the basically what he's saying is the opportunity is there a lot more for our white counterparts.
Facts,
He
but
can,
that's
I can,
right.
I can be Robert Downey Jr.
We're literally
I
transitioning
can
from
be Robert
racism
Downey
that
Jr.
still exists.
and
Like,
have
that's
a
the
crack
po-
cocaine habit,
Yeah.
and then come back and become Iron Man, and now I'm worth $300 million.
You see what I'm saying?
That
And
can happen.
when you look at a movie
Other
like
way around.
when you
I
look
don't
at a
think
movie
so.
like
okay, well here, no, wait, no,
Go
here,
ahead,
I'll
go
give
ahead.
him the guy off of Grey's Anatomy.
I don't watch that show.
Well, okay, the black doctor that was
Okay.
a huge part of Grey's Anatomy.
Mhm.
He called he ended up outing one of the cast members. He called him
It's like
the F word.
2 years ago or something like that.
No, this is like 10 years ago.
Oh, is
This
it
has
that
been,
long?
it's been a
Okay.
minute. Yeah, Grey's, because that was still when Grey's Anatomy was
Okay.
new. And that man hadn't been acting anymore, really. Like he's just now starting to come back out in like little indie roles, but he was like one of the top
There's
three
a lot of white
characters
people
on that
that
show.
deal with the same thing like
Yeah,
that, though,
there
too.
is
You know what
a lot
I
of
mean?
white people that do the same thing
but
like
just
that.
in terms of, well,
But
here, I'll
listen-
put it
And
this
the
way.
lead
I'll put it
cast
this
in
way.
Grey's Anatomy right now, the
I'll-
lead doctor is black again, and it's a female.
Listen.
It's a black female. So
Listen.
we can't say that one black dude messed up. He got outed out, and now black people don't have an opportunity anymore. Because the lead doctor on Grey's Anatomy now is a black woman.
Wait. First off, Grey's Anatomy is also made by a black woman. So any black
Right.
character is always going to have another shot. It's Shondaland.
yeah.
But no, what I'm saying in terms of the industry, he got outed from that show. Shonda she might bring him back, she might not. But I'm saying in terms of other movies, like Ellen Pompeo, the Grey, the person that the show's named after, she's worth a couple $100 million now off of Grey's Anatomy. She ain't been on nothing else. That's what she does.
Yeah, but there's literally the fact of what if they're not seeking other work? What if they're not?
Oh no, he was seeking.
So here's
he was seeking.
here's the thing. You always have these other aspects that are kind of like, behind the scenes, and we don't always see, how, this led to that or whatever, right? Like I'm a strong believer that, look, Robert, in essence, Robert Downey Jr. had a drug problem, and,
Sure.
and that affected his acting, so to speak, or whatever, or his career, so to speak, right?
Sure.
But he got clean, he came back. I don't think that necessarily he did anything wrong to his coworkers or other people that people would have blackballed him, other than anybody saying, hey, you know what, you got some issues, you need to get help right now, so we don't want you got to get cleaned up before we give you a job.
Right.
Same way you take a drug test before you get a job anywhere else, right?
Wesley
But
Snipes.
then there's right. So then you have these other things. And so when we throw these numbers around and you say, oh, look at this situation, look at that situation, there are some numbers you can't argue. So
Monique.
So look, so you have in the industry, and I don't know the exact numbers, but let's just say you have 1,000 white people.
Yes,
right?
that was what I was.
There's
gonna get to
only
next.
like 200
Like
or 150 black people, right?
So the
and then you
numbers
got like
look
50
very-
Asians, right?
Yes.
And so when they pick the cast for this movie, they are picking from this large group
Over
of white
here.
people versus
This
this
small
small
group
group. So
of
when you say,
ethnic.
yeah, there's only a handful of black actors because there has not been opportunity in the 70s, 80s, 90s for all these actors.
Yeah.
But now, since there is becoming more and more opportunity, now you see we can now do a movie where not just the main guy or the second guy or the third guy, but all the way down to like the 20th person with only one speaking role in the movie is also a black person. Because the pool now of black people, because of opportunity and movies where people attempted to do things that Black Panther did happen, now there's more opportunity. And with those opportunities will come more failures and more successes, right? Both ends will work. But with that will also inspire more people. Because now, I always mention my daughter, when we watch TV, she can now see a black woman on TV doing karate or some sort of martial arts, which my daughter does, and now she can relate to that person.
And it's an open door.
And it's an open door. So now my daughter, who at one point just wanted to be a princess when she grows up, now might want to be an actress.
Walking Dead didn't
or
work
a
for you?
doctor. I love Walking Dead. Michonne, she's my black woman, my favorite character on the show. Surprise. But like, you know, but I mean, but that's the point. What this movie does ultimately is create more opportunities. Is this movie gonna fix Chicago? No. Is this movie gonna bring Barack Obama back as the blackest president of all time? No. Is this movie? It ain't gonna do none of that crazy stuff.
But that's kind of that was more
in
to my point.
In the realm of Hollywood, it's gonna open more doors in Hollywood, not just for actors and actresses, but for other roles and all. When the credits roll up, all those names we don't read. Those are doors that are now opening up.
And hopefully it does. Hopefully Hollywood doesn't say like, well, we gave you one.
Well, I mean,
hopefully it does open up more doors.
But they have. That was to the article that we were talking about before Kels got here earlier. You know, we've shown that maybe not on this level. This level is more than likely going to be on the $1 billion
level. That's always my
level.
argument is it's never been on this level.
On this
right,
level.
Right.
But we've shown in the past that, again, our dollar is still green.
Tyler Perry is proof our dollar is good.
Yeah, I mean, like,
you know what I mean? Yeah.
black movies still make money.
Yeah.
If they're pushed the way their white counterparts are.
Right.
And especially internationally. I mean, Will Smith has shown up until really relatively recently, his movies always do well.
Right. Yeah, most of the movies do really good. Like, Denzel always does good.
Denzel always does well.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Egypt.
I don't
name more than 5 though.
So,
Name more than 5.
Shoot, Samuel L. Jackson movies usually do pretty well. But
is
he
the star of those movies?
But see, that was the thing. He played I want to be the secondary guy so much and so well that
did he play that or did he play that I have to be the secondary guy
to
get this job?
He did, but he's done that to the point now where his net worth is crazy.
Yeah, he's
and
making money.
And now he's the Capital One guy. So I mean, like, did he play himself or did he play the system?
But you look at even 15 years ago when Dave Chappelle was shopping Chappelle's show, and he went to NBC, CBS, ABC, and they told him, "We'll do this show if you have a reoccurring white character on the show.
Sure,
not an Asian character, not a Hispanic guy, not we need some regular black folks, which would have been him. They said we need a reoccurring white guy. Now, have we grown?" Since then, because Friends, which was out at that time, I don't think there's one black person on any show, right?
No, Seinfeld now on
and
Friends.
So, exactly, right?
No.
So white people didn't have that stipulation that black people have.
That's
Even
right.
when Dave Chappelle said, well, what about Different World? What about The Cosby Show? What about, and he named a handful, and they just said, oh, those are flukes, right? Even though they went for 6-7 seasons, 80 to 100 episodes, whatever, which is a success, not a fluke. Right? So
at all.
So that was 15, 20 years ago, but yet that was the era of me growing up. I grew up in the 80s and 90s watching The Cosby Show, A Different World, and those shows, right? But those were the only shows that we could watch and actually relate to and say, these people look and act like us, they talk like us, they dress like us, they are what we are aspiring to be in the realm of like success and funny and things like of that nature. And so for the big screen though, for big budget Hollywood movies, yes, we've done it kind of on smaller scales with smaller budgets and smaller rims, and we've made it happen and made it work. But all of these things combined on this level has never been done. And that is what I want celebrated. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's, I don't expect this movie to end world hunger. I don't expect every black gang member to put their guns down after going to see Black Panther. You feel me? That's not what I'm looking for.
I just don't feel like that's what's being celebrated, though.
Yeah.
With a lot of people,
I think it is a lot.
With a lot of people, it may not be. But here's the thing: they don't necessarily need to celebrate it. What they needed to do is what they did: buy a ticket. Because the money going to Hollywood is what's going to tell the story. Yeah. That's what's going to speak. If Black Panther flops, if Black Panther just does kind of average Marvel movie,
did good, just
average, just good, then it's not really a success.
This is exceptional.
But this is exceptional
because Black Panther. Look at it this way: Black Panther has killed Iron Man now.
Right.
Okay. Black Panther also. I haven't seen the movie, of course, but from what I've seen, it doesn't have other characters coming in to, hey, come help Black Panther out.
Nope.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, this is his story.
Right.
Whereas Civil War or the other ones, it's basically a baby Avengers.
Yeah, but
You really-
every
if you
single
really
Marvel
think
movie
about
has
it.
been that they've all gotten their own origin
Yeah,
story.
Well, no,
And
no,
Black
no,
Panther's just
no,
getting the same treatment.
no. Even I mean,
Iron
but,
Man didn't have anyone the first
Well,
Iron Man.
Iron Man
Iron
did.
Man
Nobody
one,
did.
but-
Hulk didn't have
like-
anybody in the first Hulk. Thor
Well,
didn't have anybody in the
Cap-
first Thor.
Captain America didn't.
Captain America did not have anybody in the first Captain America.
He had,
It was
he
based
had
in the
Bucky.
60s.
He had Bucky.
They were creating Bucky in the
Yeah,
first one.
Bucky wasn't-
basically.
Bucky
He
was
wasn't
there.
the Winter Soldier.
He had
I'm
his
sure-
team. There were no other Avengers.
trying to
like,
think. I'm
until the
trying
end
to
of the
think.
movie.
Everybody's
trying to
gotten their
think.
own origin story.
Everyone had their own origin.
That's
Yeah.
how Marvel's
There's
been
no
doing
one
their
else?
movies.
Yeah.
Well,
Usually
no, wait.
the second one is when
Well,
people start coming in.
Excuse me. Spider-Man: Homecoming. Iron Man was all in that.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
because the character that they're trying to display with that Spider-Man is the Spider-Man that becomes Iron Man's little apprentice.
And I don't like that.
Yeah,
but that's another
comic book.
conversation
That's,
for another.
that's comic book.
But-
The
but how
type of
many other-
Spider-Man that they're using,
When was that in the
the
comic?
Iron Spider suit, all of that, that's all directly from the comic book.
And listen, we saw
Tony
Spider-Man
Stark-
5 times before that. That
Sure,
didn't do that.
sure. They
So-
didn't do
Right.
that. They
Right,
didn't do that.
But that's
They had
literally
Spider-Man.
comic book.
They had Spider-Man characters. His little universe of characters.
Yeah.
were in
New
his
Avenger Spider-Man is mentored by Tony Stark.
movie.
New Avengers
Okay.
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So Avengers with Wolverine, Avengers with
Sure.
Yeah.
Spider-Man. The one that he's mentored by Tony Stark. That is comic book. And,
Okay.
and I think that's one of my biggest points. I mean, there's so many different points here, and like Quan said, they're all great points. But nothing's changed since 1969.
And
You know
I-
what I
I
mean?
think-
and we're just
yeah.
we're crediting it now. And to, like you said, what needs to be celebrated is that we got this big screen.
And that's what's changed though, because in 1969,
That would've never
you
ever
wouldn't have been
thought.
able to put this on the big
Definitely,
screen, and
definitely.
that's the whole point here. Is 1969, and it's 2018 now. That's almost 50 years
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
it took for this to
That's
be able
49
to be put on
years.
be put on the big screen.
Yeah,
Right.
but it's gonna
So that
continue
is
to
a
happen.
big deal.
It's gonna continue to happen, and it's gonna continue to
Hopefully.
happen as times are changing.
Do we
It's
know
getting
it's
to the
going to
point where-
continue to happen?
That's-
Or-
and that's-
listen,
and
that's
listen,
my-
because
that
there's
was
a
my
lot
whole
of
thing.
cases where it's like, yo,
This
hey,
is the
hey,
moment.
We gave you this. Hey,
This is the moment.
we
like
gave
again,
you some.
like I
Shut
said,
up now. You know,
like I said, 12
it's
years.
not
of-
guaranteed that it's gonna. That hopefully the momentum builds off it, and you can keep having this happen.
I'll put it
And-
to you just like this. I'll put it to
Yeah.
you just like this. Lupita in 12 Years a Slave won the Academy Award. How many more movies has she been in since then?
Yeah.
Maybe
I don't
maybe
know,
one,
but just a couple.
maybe
It's not
maybe
been many.
one,
Not
maybe
many.
It's
two.
not been many.
And that one was
Yeah.
such a transitional role. Like everyone, like oh,
and it's so
she's
hard
this-
though because you
she's
never
this-
know the reason behind these things.
Well, no.
Like,
I,
is
no,
she
I,
out-
I,
is she
I
out
understand
there-
that.
we automatically paint
I-
racism on it.
Is she
No,
out there
no,
saying I want
I'm
more
not-
movies?
I'm not
and I'm
painting
getting
it-
turned down because
I'm not-
sometimes people will get pregnant
I'm not.
and want to
no,
start a
but
family.
she
I got
didn't-
success. I'm just saying we don't
I'm
know.
not, I'm not
we don't know the
painting it.
reasons.
I'm not painting it that way, Quan. I'm just saying this is what it is.
As a
So
community, we're painted that way, though.
whether you can say this is what happened or this happened, I can't. But
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
telling you, 12 Years a Slave has been 6-7 years now.
Yeah.
So in 6 or 7 years, she was huge. Like 12 Years a
Yeah,
Slave, like
yeah.
everyone was talking about her. She was
Yeah.
at every red carpet.
Yeah.
She was everywhere, and then she was nowhere. And then now she's popped back out in this one, and I was like, oh, nice.
So going to
Lupita's
the
in
point
it.
where it's not guaranteed.
Yeah,
that,
like
that-
right back to where you're saying, like, oh yeah, this is gonna be some this is
So
gonna
would it be
But
any
you see
different?
Chadwick-
Would it be any
transformational.
You
different?
see
But
Chadwick.
would it be any different if we don't see Leonardo DiCaprio in any more movies?
No, because he's already made his money. He's already been in everything.
The point is,
He's
though,
already been great.
He was making
I think-
movies continuously, trying to get exactly what we're talking about. He wanted that Oscar. He got his Oscar with The Revenant. Now, if he decides to not make any more movies, and he's considered done in his own eyes, are we gonna be like, oh man, like
But
there's
there's
no,
a difference. He had
No.
30 movies
He had-
before that.
he was
because he
already
wasn't
40
successful
deep.
yet in his eyes. He didn't get to the point where it's like you didn't reach that pinnacle of success with those 30 movies before.
No. But Leonardo DiCaprio had been nominated like 15 times.
He
So what
reached
does
a
it mean to
big
nominate
pinnacle of
and not-
success with those movies.
Yeah,
what does it
no,
mean to be
no.
nominated and not win?
No.
I think
No,
that's a
I think
different
I think you're but see you're not hearing what I'm saying as far as like Lupita, she had never been in anything. So to never be in anything and then for everyone to say you're amazing and that you're going to be this star and then you don't. There's another conversation to be had there. Again, to what you said, now if she
But
chose
the point is-
if she chose not to be, that's on her.
But at the same time, you just said it. She had never been in anything before.
sure.
So other roles might have popped up with people that have been in a lot more stuff
Well,
with
no,
a bigger
no,
resume.
but they were saying like this is. I'm just saying what pundits, what everyone was saying, not Black America. Black America's excited just because we had somebody that won the award. That's been very few. That
Yeah.
list is like 5 to 6 deep. But what I'm saying, as far as everyone else was saying, she was going to be this huge star. And again, like I said, I had been looking for her in movies and could not find her.
I think you also have once you get that award-winning next to your name, like Jamie Foxx. After Ray, he was no longer Jamie Foxx. He's Academy Award
winner Jamie Foxx. That's different.
So now every movie you're in now, you have to pick and choose your spots.
Oh no, for sure.
And then you
Halle
also
Berry's
have,
about the only one that doesn't.
Right, of course, right. And then so with that though, you have a certain stigma about you. With even like with Lupita, she's not even I guess she's American, but she's not I don't think a native. I think she moved here at a young age, or you know what I mean? So with that being said, especially a black person in black culture, a lot of times you do have that stigma that you carry with you where, now I've reached success, I can't let my people down. You know what I mean? Now that I've reached success, I got to represent properly. So with that, and now that I'm an Academy Award winner, I can't just accept any role.
Sure.
I have to pick and choose my spots. So with that, sometimes you see people like Leonardo DiCaprio, who isn't just in all kinds of movies. He's in basically like well-written feature film.
He's in great movie after great movie.
Right. You see what I'm saying?
He knows his roles.
Right.
He doesn't take any bad parts.
But he
also gets offered all those great movies.
Sure.
Right. And I'm sure he gets offered plenty of things that he probably turns down.
Sure.
His agent probably doesn't even present half the things he's offered.
But some people only get those movies that he turned down. So
right.
They don't get the opportunity to get those.
Choice. They don't get something written for them.
So when I look at this movie Black Panther, I'm not just seeing a bunch of black actors. Do you realize that almost everybody in this movie with a speaking role, you can almost look at them, with probably the exception of like his little sister and maybe a couple other people, you can look at it and go, oh yeah, that's the person from this,
such and
or
such.
that's the person from this.
Such and such, yeah.
Because black people in this industry, we've gotten, Leonardo turned this down. Do you want it? Oh, he turned this down. Oh, you know what? We'll give it to this guy. You know, there's I hate to butcher people's name, but Chiwetel.
Oh no, Chiwetel
or
whatever.
Right, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
okay,
from 12 Years a Slave.
Right? So yeah, that guy, right?
He's always a smart brother.
Yeah,
in whatever movie he's in.
Right. I always forget. I can never say his name right. And I hate to butcher people's names too.
But that's one of the reasons why he hasn't blown up is because he got a god awful name.
Right. So, but you look at a guy like that, and to see him like kind of have like supporting role, small role, then boom, a big role, then boom, 12 Years a Slave, and then you know what I mean? Yeah. So you look at people climb these ranks, even like Denai, the general in Black Panther, the woman from Walking Dead.
Okay.
Her.
Yeah.
Denai, I can't say her last name either.
Michonne,
but you're right. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So even her, she was in a lot of like smaller movies and had other roles and plays and whatever. And then The Walking Dead came, that kind of blew her up. And then now, boom, Black Panther, right? So you're starting to see all these opportunities where nobody goes crazy about, oh, she got a role in The Walking Dead. Okay, not a big deal. Oh, this guy was in 12 Years a Slave. And Lupita was also in that movie. Yep. But not really. They did great, but yeah, not really a big deal. But now you see the path that this movie, all these people who are great characters in all these other movies, even the guy, even one of the other guys in the movie, the same guy from Get Out recently, you know what I mean, was in that movie.
Yep.
And so he's been in other things here and there, but that was his big breakout, a year, 2 years ago, whatever. So now all these are the elite. Well, I won't say elite, but they're right under the elite. They're right under. There's Denzel, there's Will Smith, there's a handful of
Halle
top,
Berry.
We gotta start wrapping
Morgan
it up,
Freeman. All right, I'm almost done. There's a handful of top black actors, and then right underneath those people is everybody that was in Black Panther.
Yeah,
and that movie just basically is breaking box office records right now.
It's a roster of twos.
A roster of twos, right? So to go back for what this movie is doing for Hollywood for the sake of black people. It stuck to the comic. Nobody can hate about that. The story, the acting was good.
Outside of the man-8.
The script was good. The script was good.
Oh, didn't think I would? I told you I read my stuff.
So that's still coming though.
But see, so
the adamant.
So with that, I think this movie is a success all around. I have no complaints about it.
I'll watch it.
You got to go
Josh
see
will watch it.
Are we taking your card from you, Josh?
Oh, my God.
I agree 100%. It's a completely successful movie. Wonderful.
But good points, everybody. And make sure you tune in every Tuesday and Thursday, 2 p.m. West Coast time for Unnamed Sports Show. Download the app if you missed any of our shows. You can listen to all the podcasts on there. The video replays will be on there as well. So make sure you check that out. Download that free Guerilla Cross app. Follow us on all social media at Guerilla Cross. Subscribe on Twitter. On iTunes, Google Play, anywhere you listen to podcasts, TuneIn app also. And we will be back next week. Yeah, for a big show. Big show.
What about the next day? Say you don't wanna throw it all away. You're bugging on the first day. What about the next day? And if at first you don't succeed, dust yourself off and try again. You can dust it off and try again.